Good afternoon and welcome to Phillip Island for the Penrite 100 Classic for 2026. We are absolutely delighted to be here this weekend, and my name is Callum Brannigan and I'm joined alongside by Sandra Horn. It's a fantastic atmosphere, isn't it? There's so many people around. Cars have been lining up since 10 to 7 this morning to get into the venue, and there's people everywhere. We've got fantastic cars everywhere. Not only have we got quantity, we've also got quality of vehicles, but there is so much in-depth, so much technical detail, so much excitement to come as we bring it to you live and free on Blendline TV.
Perfect weather today, and even like you said, some of the people here, we've got some, ex-racers here. It is literally like a walking history lesson walking around here this weekend, so it is amazing.
It's a big thanks to our corporate partners as well, of course, the naming rights partner in Penrite, celebrating their 100th, the centenary of operating a proudly Australian-owned business in Australia. It's also a big thanks to our partners in Shannons, as well as Cool Drive and the Bass Shire Coast as well. Now, we've actually got a special guest from the Bass Shire Host down this weekend. She's actually having a bit of a hot lap at the moment. Rochelle.
She is right now. We will have a chat to Rochelle today and find out all things that are going on here at the Bass Coast, as well as her thoughts on the event as well.
Absolutely. Now, this is the 37th running of this event. Now, this is one of the most popular, one of the most famous and prestigious historic racing events, especially in the Southern Hemisphere. It is the largest. We have close to 360 cars here this weekend spread across 12 different categories. So much racing action coming your way. And we've wrapped qualifying this morning, and we've got all of the racing action coming your way live and free on Blendline TV. It's a big thank you to you for tuning into all of the action this afternoon. So, without further ado, we're going to throw it up to the commentary box. We're going to introduce our host commentator for the weekend. It's over to Darren Smith.
Thanks very much, Callum and Sandra. Welcome everybody from fence to fence, from seaside to highway. The Classic is live and well. We've got a bit of a practice session going on for the final practice session of today's program, the 5-litre and invited touring cars. So there's a couple of sports cars out there as well. A massive program coming up for the rest of today and indeed tomorrow as well. The first competitive event will be the next event on track, will be the Regularity Classic Sports Car Racing. The group event will be the next race on the first race on today's program coming up after that. The 70s and 90s sports and racing cars, the group and are on track after that. Pre-1931 to 1960, sports and racing cars, the K&L and Formula Vee category. Historic touring cars over 2-litre, Formula Ford, massive field of those ace open-wheelers. Historic touring cars under 2-litre, heritage touring cars, the Group C's and Group A's, the banging Formula 5000s, the 1960 sports and racing cars, the M&O, and of course these cars which are out there for their final qualifying after practicing yesterday. Cars are on track for the 5-litre touring cars. Darren Smith here with, well, a veteran broadcaster and a veteran on the planet as well. Phil Memory, welcome to this amazing Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic.
Oh, what a fantastic place to be, Darren. It's just amazing, the facility that we've got here, and look at how many people we've got out in the crowd. It's just amazing, absolutely fantastic. You've got to be here. You've got to experience firsthand what it's like to actually be here. It's just incredible.
It's great that the race fans have flocked here to the track, and I guess in the background, Phil, is the virtual society or community that puts these sort of race meetings together. We've got volunteer trackside officials, flag marshals, grid marshals, paddock marshals in the control tower. We've got all of the powers that be, from race directors, clerks of course, communicators, all of these people. We've got fire and rescue, ambulance, all of these services here this weekend to have this magnificent event. And I tell you what, if it doesn't get the heart beating watching a couple of what we call the 5-litre touring cars, or the V8 supercars as they were called back in the day, mixing it up in fact with some fantastic other cars as well. You'll notice that there's some there's the Mobil 05 Sierra, which is charging down the straight right now. So great to see that sort of heritage. You don't really go to a race meeting without seeing something reference to Brock, but that's Carl Seville in that car out there as well. So the 05 charging on through there around the bottom end of the track. I remember this car actually racing here in a touring car championship. Rocky went off, picked up one of the TV cables that used to run on the grass, and for the rest of the race he had about 30 metres of cables swooping around the track. Gave the edge of the track on the outside a good, it was like a whippersnipper going around the track.
The cameraman let go.
Yeah, well it was pretty exciting actually to see that. Nice to see this bit of this sort of car that comes out here, and we're going to cover all of the eras, Phil. We're going to go from those early Formula Vees and sports cars through to these sort of touring cars.
And it's all of the cars, Darren, that you used to go to the track and watch in the real race, the races on the day. Here they are, back in history, out there practicing their stuff out on track. It's something else to see. You don't see these cars very often these days. Phillip Island, what a great track to come to and watch this go down.
It is awesome also just getting a good look at this Sierra and hearing that turbo as they come off the accelerator across Lukey Heights. So you hear that. I'm going to do it live on air. That that sound is just awesome. And with these Sierras, which, you know, the DJR Sierras were the fastest Sierras in the world. They were left behind for a while by the Roushes and some of those other ones around the world. This is the old Murray Carter car, and actually Murray's here with his wife here today. It's great to see Murray.
Fantastic.
There was some conversation as to getting Murray in the car. That hasn't been confirmed, and at the moment I don't see his name on the timing screen next to that car. But certainly it's great to see Murray's car out there on the track having a bit of a burn around.
Yeah, 100%. We've got to see these cars out there. It's a museum being exercised on track, that's for sure. And
have a look what's lurking behind and just sweeping around the outside there. Talking about history, the Erebus Racing Penrite Mercedes, a supercar, which won a couple of races in the hands of Lee Holdsworth, and I think it was Will Davison. And there it is there. Look at that. Our fantastic sponsor, the Penrite 100, celebrating 100 years. This was the livery that this car was run in back in the era around the mid 2015, 16 sort of era with the car here. And this was something absolutely unheard of in the touring car scene here in Australia. A privateer team, Erebus Racing, Erebus Motorsport, backed by, of course, Betty Clemenco, the owner. She did it all by herself, didn't she? She went off and she put a Mercedes on the track, ran a Mercedes engine, and a lot of development. And I tell you what, it still cuts a very, very nice silhouette, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's a gorgeous looking car, and it's probably a shame that there wasn't more of them hit the track, to be honest. I'm really rather partial to the look of this car.
Yeah, it certainly did. Betty was very, very loyal for a long time in GT racing. She bought the first of the two SLS GT Mercedes AMGs into the country, and you'll probably remember them, Phil. They were in that chrome type finish, that wrap. They wrapped them all in that chrome finish. But this is very, very nice and absolutely fitting that the Penrite livery does get acknowledged out there with this particular car, which was certainly part of the very rich tapestry that is the Australian touring car scene. A couple of different cars out there. Look at that, a Mini Moke. They used them for Formula One drivers last weekend.
They did. In fact, on my way to the Grand Prix last week, I saw one of them out at Wallen topping up with fuel.
The Mokes were front and centre in the Formula One Drivers Parade at Albert Park last weekend. This is Carl. Actually, no, the number 14. So that's Chris Clearahan. That's in the Walwell Magari. Chris, of course, synonymous with sports car racing. I guess he's probably mixed up with this bunch, being that it is a 5 litre and it's an invited car. So this is the 5 litre touring cars.
And not many of the Magaris were roofless. Most of the Magaris had a roof on them.
They did. Gee, built down there in Brayside, still the Volwell factory down there in Brayside in Melbourne, manufacturing, and also out of Carrum Downs. Look at this, both with the Ford power plants coming charging down the straight, and then one of the Works supercars from the Tick Pro Drive operation is lurking in the background down there. Kai Allen, current spec supercar driver, is at the wheel of that white Merc that we were just having a good look at from Erebus, and he's done a 107.83. Ben Eggleston in the number 2 car, and I think Ben's in one of the Vodafone Commodores liveried cars, supercars, being that the Erebus Motorsport team do have a little bit of a collection going on as far as those sorts of cars are concerned. But Ben's out there on track, has done a good 8 laps now, a 1:35.6 for him, so a good 1.9 seconds off the back of Kai Allen. Ben is a family man and certainly not a current spec supercar driver, but has driven in the lesser ranks for Super 3 and has also done a fair bit of GT driving in an Aston Martin as well. So no slouch is Ben, and we'll take it up to Kai Allen in further racing throughout this weekend. Sean Day is next there. He's in the Porsche GT3 RSR, which we've seen lurking around there.
Yes, there's some gorgeous machines, that's for sure. And if you are here, you can wander around in the paddock, and there's just some of the display cars here also, Darren, that just stunning stuff.
It certainly is. And look, there's a lot going on. Of course, there's a bit of a raffle being run by the VHRR here this weekend as well. A long-serving motorsports chaplain has had some issues with his transport, Mark Bateman, and they're running a fantastic raffle. Get down to the race secretary's office and get yourself a ticket in the 1 in 18 scale 2020 Bathurst winning Red Bull V8 supercar. Tickets $5 each for that very, very rare classic collectible model. To help the motorsport chaplaincy and Mark Bateman, of course, to keep his rig that he takes right around the country to support motorsport, whether it be Speedway, whether it be circuit racing here at Phillip Island, Sandown, Winton, Avalon, Rolling Thunder, all of these venues. So check that out as well. Checkered flag has dropped, and let's get down and have a chat with Sandra and the Mayor of the Bass Coast.
It's a beautiful day here at Phillip Island for the Phillip Island Classic, and we have got Rochelle from the Bass Coast Council here. Now, I believe this is not your first time. You've been down here a couple of times for the event. How do you enjoy it? Like, what's your thoughts on the event so far today? And in the past?
It's one of my favourite events. I come to a lot of events here at the track, but this one's certainly right up there with one of the best of them. And you can hear the cars behind us. That sound is just so exciting and exhilarating for visitors who, you don't have to be a car lover to come along to this event. You'll see some incredible vehicles. I sort of like to describe it as a living, moving museum of cars from the past, from overseas. It's just a really wonderful event.
Yeah, you'll definitely find something that you like here with all the different styles. And like I said, the people as well, it is like walking through a museum, even sometimes talking to them. Someone mentioned to me before, there's a racer here who's 95 years old and has been racing since the 50s. We're going to hopefully have a chat to him later. So you live local, you're the mayor, and we're hearing before about that there's lots of things happening on the island. Tell us a little bit about, what's happening here.
Yeah, we're really excited for Bass Coast. We've got a lot going on. We've got a lot of improvements in our main street of Cows. So Thompson Avenue has had some funding, and it's going through a real, regeneration, which is lovely and fabulous for our local businesses. We have Kilcunda, another beautiful little spot.
It's not just the island.
No, it's not just the island. The mainland has a lot to offer too, and we often are. We focus very much on the island because we do have some incredible events here, but take some more time, go and explore the mainland. There's some beautiful spots there too.
Come down for the weekend because, it's Phillip Island. Obviously known for the penguins, we all know that, but there's so much more to do here. And if you've got young children like I do, I'm planning on actually coming down next weekend. I'll be back again because I want to bring them to the maze, and there's wildlife, and there's, like I said, Kilcunda and places like that, beautiful.
Some beautiful trails to walk as well. We've been doing a lot of work with our trails over the whole of Bass Coast, and The George Bass walking trail is amazing. The views from that are terrific. And you can walk from, it's almost sort of San Remo to Kilcunda, stop at the cafe there, have a nice coffee, and then head back. So there's some great stuff to do here in Bass Coast, not just at the track, not just at Cows, but right across the Shire.
Yeah.
I think we have the Equinox Festival coming up in Inverloch shortly. That's a really well-attended event and a fabulous opportunity to get out there amongst community and enjoy what Bass Coast has to offer.
For sure. Now, back to the event here today. I do believe you're going to be going out in a car very soon to do a lap, and I saw you out there before just checking it out. It's a C8 Corvette, which is a very nice car. Are you excited or nervous?
Oh, I'd have to say a little bit of both. It is an absolutely beautiful car, but the thing that attracts me to these vehicles is the sound. Now, I was just saying to Mike as I came in through the crowds, through the gates earlier today, that there were cars all around me with that beautiful thumping V8 sound. And I drive a Tesla, so I was feeling a little bit like an imposter, and luckily Mike allowed me to pull my car over and jump into his car, which had that thumping V8 sound.
Well, they actually do go quite fast, so you'd actually give some of us a run for our money here, but we are very much looking forward to seeing you going out in the Corvette, and I'm sure you're going to have a ball here and enjoy the beautiful weather, as I said, that's here today, that it is perfect. So if you're seeing this video, whether it's on the Saturday or Sunday, we are here all weekend. Thank you so much for coming along today and enjoying it with us.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity to chat, and please come to Bass Coast. You won't be disappointed.
Agree.
Some people, they just don't get it. They don't get the thrill of spotting a one-of-a-kind. They don't get the joy of a Sunday drive. But at Shannons, we get it because we get what matters to car people. That's why we offer Choice of Repairer, because we get it's important who works on your vehicle. Driven by passion, backed by experience. Chat to Shannons, Australia's original insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 or jump online. Shannons, share the passion.
Here on Victoria's Phillip Island, the question isn't where do you start, but why does it have to end? 101 square kilometres of amazing is waiting.
Phillip Island is indeed amazing, and well, there's two gentlemen in the commentary booth right now, Darren Smith and Phil Memory, and we reckon this part of Phillip Island is pretty special, don't we, mate? And I reckon the people out there that have made their way to the track, voted with their feet, reckon this particular property is pretty special too, don't you reckon?
Absolutely, and look, any spot around this track has got to be a good spot. You just can't get it wrong.
I agree with Mayor Rochelle Housestead though as well, like it is such a beautiful region of Victoria, and when you look off out to Bass Strait just for a moment as the race cars are charging down to turn 4 and you see that magnificent headland down to Woolamai. And if you could see any further, you could probably see Tassie, but you certainly see Inverloch and all of those great little nooks and crannies that exist around the coast. And don't forget going a little bit inland as well. There's lots to discover in that, as you referred to, the mainland of Gippsland, and of course us out here on the island. And I feel a little bit like MotoGP weekends, where the island's on a little bit of a tilt on this side actually, because everyone's gathered here. Regularity is on track now, and this is kind of harks back to the very, very beginning of motorsport, doesn't it? It was about getting around, more often than not, a dirt track somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
With kilometres and kilometres of dirt road and doing it towards the time.
Yeah, and well, look, I sometimes refer to this as the breakfast brand races, because they try and dial into regularly achieve the same time each time they go around the track, and they get penalised if they go too fast, and if there's a similar penalty if they go too slow, but the penalty for going too fast is a little bit more than the penalty for going too slow. So if you're able to get into a car and just dial in the same lap time, lap after lap after lap, you get a good show in this.
This is a particularly interesting one, isn't it, for regularity? This is a Tiga GT285 with Robert Foster at the wheel. I believe the set time is 2 minutes. So in your Tiga GT285, I'm tipping you're easing off somewhere around the particular lap. But have a look at this. This is like a parade of... well, there's the car that gets one of our co-commentators coming to these Victorian Historic Racing Register events. That magnificent BASF ex Chris Hones flat bow Porsche, and that looks absolutely amazing going around. And off we go.
To be honest, Darren, there's not a car out there that I wouldn't happily throw myself into and go for a bit of a pedal.
I agree, absolutely wholeheartedly. So. Cars head out now. This is all about a lap time. It's not a race. They're not racing to the checkered flag. Essentially, they've got a good 15 minutes to set their best time as close as possible to their mark. So the 2 minute is the breakout time. You get a penalty if you go faster than that. But it's about hitting the time that you've nominated, lap after lap after lap for 15 minutes.
Oh, that's right. I mean, if you nominate the time, the tricky bit is you're not allowed to have a clock in the car. There's no timing devices allowed. You're not allowed to have a radio or someone signalling you over the fence. All of that's not on. So it's very much up to the driver being able to consume time in a regular fashion and get around the track. There we go. We've got a Formula Vee out there. So 38 horsepower, horizontally opposed, 4-cylinder, little engine, drum brakes, and that is car 189, and 188 I think it is, and Nicholas Jackson in the Avanti Formula Vee. So you can get out there and all sorts of things. We've got a Datsun 1600 that I've seen. There's all sorts of machinery out there, and you don't need a full-on driving circuit racing licence to be able to compete in this. You only need a limited speed licence, the same as what you might use for sprint races or hill climbs.
It's Formula Vee coming across the top of the hill, number 188, Nick Jackson in the Avanti from 1984, doing some regularity. I tell you what, if there's anyone out there doing a little bit of celebrity spotting here this weekend, Phil, I'm just going to drop a name. I reckon he might have been here specifically for last weekend, and there's people doing dances that they've got selfies with him. None other than Eddie Irvine here at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit for the 37th running of the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic. Big welcome to Eddie, and you're going to have to do a pretty good job to spot him. He's hiding behind a cap, and he's got about a 5-day growth. He looks like he's been celebrating a victory from last Sunday for about 5 days.
I think you've just given an accurate description of the man. We'll be able to spot him easily.
Yes, exactly. So
I think we should get him up here in commentary.
Yeah. Not only have we got Guido down here with the 27 and 28 Kaylee Alboreto and Stefan Johansson cars, we've actually got a guy that raced against those cars down in here visiting. So big welcome to any of the ex-F1 drivers, even current if they're still in the country. I think they're racing somewhere, aren't they?
Well, they're probably looking for a track to race on.
Yes.
That's another story. Back on track, car 83. That is Aston Hill in a Hawk DL2B from 1971. And beautiful little car. We've just got so many marvellous little machines out there. We've got some Clubman style cars. We've got some Le Mans style cars. It's just endless.
And an XL.
And
amongst all of that, we've got Clubmans and Formula Fords, and one of the, I'm going to say you opened the gates of a racetrack in Australia in the last 6 years, and you have a lineup of XLs on trailers that are ready to go. So this event is no different. Great looking car there of Kevin Ackers, the Carroll DA1, coming down into MG. The 83 following right along behind there as well in the Formula Ford. And as I mentioned earlier, the Tiga number 9. Mazda, I believe it has got a 12A rotary on board. We do have a number of rotaries here, and in fact the Group C rotary with Elliot Barber of the wheel of the RX-7, the Yellow Pages RX-7, has won a race already. The Bass Coast replay And that is the 162 of Alex Wald, the Plymouth Special, 3.8 litre.
He's turned it around over in MG, so scribbled a quick message on the track.
Just wondering where Andrew is. So car number 163, not in the 20 at the moment, so not hitting the marks as far as times are concerned. There he is in position 31. So yes, there are positions. So the more accurate you are to your nominated time is where you'll be ranked. Quite a complex scoring system.
It is. Basically, you start off with a big bunch of points and you lose them.
Yes, yes. So it's the one.
The more you lose, the worse you're off.
Yeah. The one that's got the highest number at the end is the winner. There's a Datsun 1600. Didn't we all have a bit of a crack at a Datsun? Mine was a 1200 wagon. Of course, we learnt at the Winton Festival of Speed, our co-commentator Emma Dean was a 120Y Datsun. She loved that, and she has no recourse to argue with this at the moment. But there's a Datsun. Have a look at that, charging around the back end of the track there. So everyone's been touched by a Datsun at some point, haven't they?
They certainly have, and this one's a rather special-looking one with just the two doors. It's,
a 510.
And it's on its wheels.
I believe that's a 510A is what they're called. They're all 510s.
Yeah.
But, and that's what they were known pretty much internationally. But here in Australia, we called it the 1600 basically because that was the L motor that was in front. Yeah. This car had a bit of a spin earlier. You'd know you're alive sitting well and truly above the bonnet there, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. We talk about wind in the face, boys. These are certainly... When you're in one of those cars, you get the buffeting on the helmet. You get everything as you're going down this front straight here at Phillip Island.
Just think, in 1939, when this car was run, they wouldn't have had helmets. They would have had like a leather
skull
cap on.
Yeah,
leather skull
if
cap.
you're lucky. And maybe some goggles. Other than that, you just throw a couple of pegs on your eyes and hold them open. Just incredible to see some of these old machines out here rolling around. And as the Mayor mentioned earlier, it's a mobile museum. You see these vehicles getting around that you don't see every day. It's just amazing to come here and have a look. Go and have a look at them in the pits. You can wander in through the pits. You've got to be here to do it, Darren.
You do.
You can't do this on the blend line. We get to see it all on blend line, but the tactile experience of being here is so much greater.
Well, I look around here and there's literally thousands of people enjoying that aspect of going to motorsport. I used to work years ago when I started off doing commentary, and there was a commentator that would often say, great to be watching on TV, but come and join it in all live senses. Come and you can't scratch the screen and get the smell, can you?
No, you
And
can't.
XL going up against the Plymouth Special coming around through Siberia at the moment, about to head up the hill here. So the 101 versus the 162, and the XL sweeps right around the outside. The Plymouth Special in 1939 would have been a masterpiece piece of kit too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And look, back then everybody made a special because, gee, you couldn't afford the Maseratis and the things from Europe, so you went and you found an old chassis and you maybe stuck a Plymouth motor in it, as they've done there, or you get an old flat top Ford V8 or one of those sorts of things. And a bit later on they started using Holden engines, and
I like what Jeff Boyd's done. He's gone and got himself a Porsche 356 and he's doing some regularity in that. Gee, that you don't even need to squint, and you can look at the 2025 version of that car and you can see the heritage, can't you?
100%. Yeah.
The 911 or the 356 as this one was called, and they're now called 992.
Yeah.
But they are still a 911 to me and to all of the Porsche loving public.
Yeah, that's right. They just haven't gone away from that shape, basic shape.
And layout too.
Yeah. Engine down the back, driver at the front. Let's go. So
presents its own engineering challenges, but boy, the guys at Stuttgart, they're up to it every single time, aren't they? When they bring out a new one.
Yeah, they certainly produced some beautiful machines and some very fast and extremely reliable machines. That's the other trick with Porsche.
So at the moment, it's the the Ford Millthorpe Special, the 1939 car. Francis Robson in the car number 92, who is ticking the boxes with 3 laps done in this session. Still 3 minutes or so left to go in this one. Just trying to look to where car 24. Jeff's in the 8 actually there, car 24. Jeff Boyd, he's well and truly in the mix there in the Porsche, so that's good. Hasn't lost too many points there at all. I'm trying to find our good mate Tom Reed, who's in a Formula Ford out there at the moment. He'll be commentating tomorrow during the Formula Ford racing. By the way, Phil, your good mate from the commentary booth, Bob Morrow, who the fans out there that have been a regular to the Phillip Island Classic over the years, he'll be calling Formula Ford this weekend with me this afternoon. There's Tom. Here he comes up the inside here.
Up the inside, car 77. Nicely done. Of course, that's the other thing in regularity is that you're not to go dive bombing down the inside. You need to be a bit more gentlemanly.
Look at that. That Porsche, the flak bow BASF, the car that Chris Hones drove back in the day would have been described as gay abandon. These days, Jack Little is here with his dad, and Jack's running a Lola Le Mans car, but Jack is having a ripper time in this Porsche RSR and running to regularity, and just slowed quite dramatically there. Looks like an MGTC, I think, possibly coming up on there as well. So what a mix. What a mix. A car that ran genuinely in the front and won the Australian GT Championship or Sports Car Championship, coming up on a car that would have won touring classics all around the world.
Yeah, exactly. And the old MGs, you've got to be right on it to go and get an old MG. They're a beautiful old car. And what a mark they've made on motoring history. But as also the Porsche that we still have on screen.
They certainly have. That is absolutely magnificent. The BASF car, if you want to hear the story of this car, in fact, jump on the Grassroots Racing podcast, have a look for the Chris Hones episode, and have a listen to his story. He tells the story about that particular race car and the success that he had with it. And Jack and his dad are having a ripper time with it as well. We've seen it regularly across all 3 events that the Victorian Historic Racing Register promote, both the Winton Festival Speed, which, by the way, is coming up at the end of July. Get your accommodation booked in that region, pretty much from your neck of the woods through Wangaratta, Shepparton, right into Benalla, Mansfield. All of those places you're going to need a book.
And up to right. Let's not forget the people up in the hills.
Exactly. But, that weekend the accommodation is at a premium. So book now before the accommodation people understand what's going on.
There's, and it's a great event. The little winter track, I call it little because it's much smaller than this, but of course that event is on the long track at Winton, and something really worthwhile doing.
Yeah, certainly the July 23rd, 24th and 26th. And one thing I'm really looking forward to, being a Porsche guy, is the new Fitzy Cup, which is going to be run, obviously, in the name of Peter Fitzgerald, but will be run for Porsches. Get your, there's already expressions of interest out for that one, so if you're thinking about doing it, I'm going to say jump on it because it's filling up. Get in there, get your Porsche entered. It will be well worthwhile. Of course, you and I will be there, Phil. We love doing that trip.
We love it.
It's a local one for you.
It's a whole 20 minutes for me, from my bedroom to the track.
There we go.
How cool is that?
So Robinson's still doing well here. The 71 in the points, which is Garth Selig in the GSM Dart. Well, there's another Datsun on screen there as well. Magnificent car as well. 810 Mark Rayner, Datsun 200B two-door or coupe out there. I'm not sure that would have been designated a Triple S. I think it's got a Triple S badge on the front of it. Have a look at this. It's a gaggle of cars.
Yeah, there is. And all nicely done. A Porsche, an MGB, and wow, you can't beat the mix-up of vehicles that we've got out on track.
Mazda-powered Clubman coming around the outside of the 356 there of Neil Kelly. And that is the Grant Ogle Ashdown Clubman. 1272, so that must be a 12A. These things are all about power to weight and centre of gravity, aren't they?
Correct. The car that I built was a little under the 400 kilos, a Clubman sports car, so a lot of them are really quite light back in the 70s. Probably not really all that solid, shall we say, but some of these cars are really, really quick. Checkered flag is out for the regularity because we can't figure out who the winner of a regularity event is until all of the cars are across the end and the points have been worked out. So look at these beautiful cars. They come down, cross over the finish line, and we will hopefully be able to tell you who's won it in a little while.
Well, yeah, this is a progressive score over through the weekend. Checkered flag has been dropped. There's not really much point on giving you an update on that yet. Probably tomorrow morning we'll start to get a bit more of a form on it. But we're going to go down now to an interview that Emma Dean caught up with Tom Walstap before they went out in the Group S.
I'm here with Tom Walstap, President of Group S Racing Association. Tom, thanks for having a chat with me today. You're about to go out on track.
We are.
Beautiful weather here at Phillip Island this weekend. What are you hoping for?
Well, we've got the biggest field here this weekend, so I think we started with 56 cars, so it's a very, very busy grid. Being quite a popular category, we've got 150 members across Australia who all race, so with 56 cars on the grid, we're hoping for a clean race. We're hoping to go flag to flag without any incidents, but everyone respects each other. It's not a contact sport. And they're such beautiful cars, as you can see here, that we all look after each other and we look after the cars.
Can we have a chat about your car, Tom? Because, I know I'm a Porsche tragic. There's a few Porsches in Group S right now. Tom is racing around in the number 3, white with Martini Tribute livery, 928. Now, this is a V8, 4.5 litre V8. Naturally aspirated stonker. So according to you, this is really well balanced. We had a chat yesterday. I said, how do you go at 1 and 12?
Yep.
And you're like, fine, no problems.
Yes, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the car.
Well, given that it was a clean sheet designed by Porsche when they made the 928, transaxle, so it's got the gearbox and diff in the back, V8 engine at the front, 50-50 weight distribution. It was made as a big Grand Tourer, but when you get them up and going, they're really good. They're great through the sweeping bends, and more than anything, I just love the sound of a V8.
Me too.
And all the ingredients are right. It's a Porsche, it's a V8, 50-50 weight. It should be a really good race car. I just think the love affair was always with the 911s, and I raced a 911 for 10 years before jumping into this.
Well,
but I just love it.
I know. But speaking of, we've got a gorgeous we've got another 928 over here.
We've got the Mayor of the Barossa, Tim Linus, here, who races his beautiful green and gold 928. So we're partners in crime in the 928 stakes here. And Tim's done 13 Targa Tasmanias, raced in just about everything. He's got one of the most stunning car collections you'll ever see over in the Barossa. And he's pretty good with a few bottles of red wine on the weekends. But he's, again, one of the good... We've got a really good community of people here. We've really tried to work on the camaraderie amongst the group.
It is a great group. I can attest to that. Group S is a great bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Now, gorgeous.
Yeah, so this is Ryan Koenig's 911E, so it's a 69. So it's a 2 litre, flat 6, beautifully balanced, so it runs in SB class.
Yeah.
So the thing about Group S is that we have multiple classes. So there's 3 classes, basically 50s, 60s and 70s cars, SA, SB and SC. And then within those categories, there's subcategories based on capacity.
Yeah.
So it isn't all about the outright win in Group S, it's really about the class wins.
Yeah.
So there's so many races going on. With 56 cars, I think there's about 12 categories all racing. So if people look a bit fierce in the midfield, it's for short, it's for sheep stations.
Now, just to indulge me, just one last Porsche. This gorgeous bus hub of Stuart Webster's. I shouldn't call it a bus hub, it's probably a bit rude, but I love them. What can you tell us about Stuart's car here?
Okay, so Stuart's actually running regularity, although it is a car that is eligible to run in Group S, except the way it is, it's slightly modified. So this has got a 2.7 litre flat 6 in the back. and it is about as lively a 356 as you'll ever see. It and Stuart, who you'll see over here, is one of the doyens of the sport. It absolutely charges that around in regularity and has a ball.
Now,
his son Alex, who has the beautiful all the Webster cars always look like they've come straight out of the showroom. So Alex is our vice president in Group S. He was the previous president. He always at the front, always going for a podium. So a really good hard charger as well.
Now, getting off cars for just a second,
Yes.
VHRR.
Yes.
This weekend has been running for 37 years. This is the 37th Classic at
Yep.
Phillip Island.
Yep.
You guys have been coming for how many years?
Well, this is actually our 20th year. So Group S as an association has now reached its 20th year. So we're quite proud of the fact that we've got a single national association that looks after the interests of all the Group S, and we're trying to do a lot of things with safety and to look after the drivers and to grow the category. We're one of the few historic categories that is
Grow the
actually
category
growing.
from 56. Grow the category from 56 on track. I'm not sure you need to grow the category.
Well, we often have two grids.
Yeah, but there are, to your point, there are so many of these cars lying around in garages,
Yes.
probably being restored or kept. They should be out on track, really.
Absolutely. I think we've almost got a 100 mile an hour car show here. So don't leave them in the garage. Get them out on track. They're going to be well protected. People aren't bumping into each other.
No.
It's not go-karts. You can race them. You can even drive them home. Some of these cars are even road registered. But you really can take any production car, put a cage in it, get some safety about it, and go racing.
Tom, thank you so much for taking us through only a fraction of what the Paddock is for Group S this weekend. And I hope
I would
you
invite
guys
people. I'd invite people to come down and look through the paddock because there are some sensational cars.
Please do. Hope you have a fantastic time out on track as always. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Emma.
Awesome down there. Great to see Group S and the magic of television. We have got Emma Dean in the commentary booth. She's run all the way from the Group S paddock. What an athlete she is here. And she's landed here. Em, have a look at this grid sheet. Let's rip through this because the field's already down at turn 4.
Darren, it's absolutely unbelievable. We've got Graham Gulson in P1, followed by Joseph Di Bartolo, Joe Collegia, Dougie Barbour there, Alex Webster, Damien Mayer, Simon Mayer in 7th, James Calvert-Jones in 8th, Ray Narkowitz in 9th, Tom Alstab in 10th, Mickey Pearlade, followed by Andrew Whitestead, John Harrison, Hugh Harrison, Warren Hotz, Hung Do, Samuel Narkowitz, Colin Wilson-Brown. God, Darren, I'm running out of room.
Yep, John Geese there, Scott Farquharson, back to Kent Brown, Braden Taylor, John Floyd, Donald Bartley. Then we go back to Brian Weston. Ross Jackson, ace to see the 72 back on the racetrack. Matt McGrath, Chris Ralph out there as well. John D'Acolo, Paul Hogan down there. David Bajan, James Ashby, Darren Meehan, Chris Blandon, Fergus Bryan, Chris Robson,
Patrick Townsend, Tim Lyons, Dale Ashby, Ryan Koenig, Stephen Brankstone, Andrew Gibson, Dave Godwin, Robert Roundtree, Bob Roundtree, Harry Britton, Peter Saglietti, Ursula Weidemuller, Nahum Alief, Philip Powell, Ryan Bailey, Gregory Prunster, and Tammy Holtz, rounding out 52 cars. Darren,
wow.
What a mouthful.
What an absolute legend of a field, and every one of these cars an absolute showpiece. As you alluded to down there, talking with Tom Walstead, great for Tom to take a moment out of his day,
wasn't it,
to have a chat. I mentioned halfway through there, and I got a little bit of goosebumps, and I've still got them because coming across in the screen now is Ross Jackson in the 72 Pantera di Tomaso that was badly damaged here, and those guys have worked very, very hard to get that car. The Pantera is just it's one of the nice pieces of salad in this very mixed salad that we're about to get onto. An amazing menu of cars out there. It could actually be a mixed grill, couldn't it? It could be, you've got a pork chop and a sausage and a piece of sirloin and whatever it might be. But
cars as food.
Yes, exactly. And I've always represented them like that when I sit down for a meal.
Mustard.
Ask my 11-year-old, I'm about to have a Pantera di Tomato, and she goes, Dad, it's a sausage and bread.
And look, this is Ross's first time back since he went into the wall here. So that would be, it's a refamiliarisation process when you've had a little bit of a nasty experience at a track and it's been quite a while between drinks for him. It can be a little bit nerve-wracking to come back, but Ross and that car are one, so I'm sure he'll handle it beautifully. And isn't it this grid, Darren? Have a look at that. You talk about a museum of cars. This is, I'm getting absolute chills here. Look at, you are too, look at it. This is insane. Oh my
Have
goodness.
a look at that Porsche, Graham Gulson, sitting there in the magnificent number 63. There is no more iconic livery in motorsport internationally. The Gulf livery on a 911 with the whale tail and black wheels right alongside in that magnificent Corvette, and Joe Collegia in the white car. The white car. He couldn't be more red if I tried. There's no white on it, but a terrific looking there. Doug Barber. Watch Alex Webster. That's what I was thinking about, was the Webster Porsche. Cars are slowly making their way to the grid. They go right back under the Melbourne Bridge, waiting for the all-important grid marshal to wave that green flag at the back of the pits. We waited a long time last Sunday afternoon at Albert Park. It was quite the hold there as we look now to the starters rostrum here at the Victorian Historic Racing Register, 37th running, the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic. The first race for the weekend is for Group S, and we have got a Corvette and a Porsche, with a Corvette and a Porsche on the two front rows of the grid, and Alex Webster hasn't taken his spot on the grid. They charge down into turn number one. The heat haze off the Porsche as they come down, but it will be the General Motors Corvette from the 60s as they stream down into turn number one. Right round the outside goes the Wallstep 928, an amazing Porsche in the history of that mark. And there he is right in the middle there, that Pantera di Tomato, just giving himself a nice bit of room, a little bit of real estate all the way around him as we see that going around wide there. John Finney, that's 2000, the 1967 model. And they go down through turn three on the long shot. Have a look at that heat haze glistening off those magnificent Porsches.
Darren, do we need to be talking?
No.
The soundtrack.
Shush now.
Yes, shush, everyone shush.
Oh, Phil Collegia. Joe goes wide. Cold tyres on that massive Corvette. Maybe cold front ones, but I'm sure he spun up the rears to get lots of heat in there. Joe drives this absolutely brilliantly. Did a terrific job at Sandown, at historic Sandown, at the end of last year in November. But have a look at this. He is lurching all around behind Doug Barber and going up to Lukey Heights now. The 27 ranging up in there as well. That's Mickey Pillade coming out of position number 10. So a great first stanza for Pillade. Have a look at this. This is going to be Meyer. I haven't even looked at it yet, but I'm pretty sure that's Damien Meyer. And this is like Mike Trathen. We're used to these things. This is the 12. In fact, that's come from elsewhere. Damien's in the 13.
That's Simon Meyer.
Yeah.
He's just as annoying as his brother for everyone else.
I'll tell you what, at Winton you get it with these midgets, and Mike Trathen, who's not here this weekend, who we regularly see as part of Trophy Tour Victoria, which, by the way, are racing in Calder next weekend. If you've got nothing to do, head out there for that. But have a look at this. The Meyer family, they get blown away in a straight line. 1100cc, that's it. No turbo, nothing else.
But Darren, when else can an MG say that they're intimidating a Porsche in their rear view or a Corvette? Seriously, it doesn't happen. And Damien and Simon Meyer are the two guys that I've seen that managed to do that.
They certainly do. They've come around on lap number one. Simon in position number 5. Damien in position number 7. Great to see that. We just missed that. The VHRR speed shot on the straight there. A great inclusion for this broadcast, and the crew at Glenline should be applauded for that. Tom Walstead now, hands full. He's got 911s front and rear at the moment.
It's a Porsche salad.
It is.
Loving it.
This would be the exotic bit. This would be like the feta and the olives and that sort of bit.
This is what my dreams are made of, Darren, to be honest, really. We're just missing a 997 and a 993 RSCS, I'd say.
Nice glimpse into your world, Emma.
Yeah, an RSR or two and a Carrera GT, you know. That's what I dream of every night.
Absolutely. Coming up to the back part of the circuit here. Many, many years ago, the wall used to follow right alongside the track there, but after many years of safety upgrades at this magnificent world-class facility, it is a long, long way back. And the likes of Craig Lowndes and David Order are happy to see that wall disappear 100 metres off the edge.
Did you see the shot in Honda then with the little mini moke in the background, Darren? What's a better advertisement for a VHRR Phillip Island Classic weekend than all of these Porsches, the MGs on track, the Corvettes, and then you got a little moke parked up watching it?
Probably come straight from the Albert Park Grand Prix, taking the drivers around on their parade. Down into MG now. This is amazing. Here's an Alfa Romeo. Let's get a good look at the Alfa Romeo there. Doing a terrific job. I'm not too sure where we are in the field now. Just getting a little bit mixed up. 54 cars. It's hard to follow where they're all at. But that Alfa Romeo Giulia is Dale Ashby, 1962. And it's a FP 1600 to 2 litre. So we're going from 31st through to 35th in the field now. And there's a 928 Giulia and a massive mix of UMG midgets there in the mix as Graham Jolson continues to lead the way in his Golf livery Porsche. And they're streaming down through turn one now, a number of Alfa Romeos and a magnificent GTB there as well. Here we go. Here's the Battle Royale, 12 and 13. Now, this is where you get the salad and you toss it. And you just at the end, we get one of them wins it. One of them wins it in the end.
These guys are the dressing, Darren. Look, there's my moke.
There it is. Absolutely. It's a beachside location, so you've got to have a moke somewhere on the sand dunes, don't you? These two are having a ripping time. And if that Porsche following on close behind there, which is a Mickey Palade, started out of 11 and up to 7, so that's a really good charge there. If he wants to get into this, he's going to have to do it in a straight line because these two events, they're almost like go-karts but with roll cages. These things, they just throw them around. It'd be interesting if they had any electronic intervention at all, but I would like to see a throttle trace. I think it's 100%, and then 15 minutes later it goes back to
You can see it's 100%. I love it. This is as analog as you get, these cars. And these two brothers, oh my God. I couldn't think of a better day to go racing with those two, or a better category.
Perlade trying to chase them down. I tell you what, he's put the right number on the side. It's the World Championship number of Alan Jones and Casey Stoner. And, this place knows all about Casey Stoner. Not too sure about Alan Jones. He raced supercars here for a while, not so well. But the 27, in my opinion, is always a very brave number to put on a racing car if you're an Australian.
A bit like 23, really, isn't it?
So, what's that, Dermot Brereton?
Oh, my goodness, Darren Smith. You are not a sports person at all. Michael Jordan much? No?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Barber there as well, doing a good job. Pretty much doing it all on his own. Doug started out of P4, holding that position. He's actually probably just praying that these guys don't range up on the back of him because the answer under brakes is not good.
I wouldn't want to split them.
No. Well, the interesting thing is that the Porsche are renowned for good brakes, whereas these things hardly use the brakes. So.
Well, they don't need to. They don't have the momentum that a Porsche has to stop. These guys can pretty much go flat out.
Here
the
we
whole
go.
way.
Look at this.
We'll split them.
Mickey's right up behind here, and that is on Simon.
Uh-oh.
And different line there, isn't it? Rear engine, rear drive with front engine, rear drive across the hill.
Oh.
For Apex Steels, of course, Joe Collegiate currently sitting in P3 in the number 44 SP4 car, the menacing red Corvette, side-by-side Porsches, front engine V8, rear engine flat 2.3, 2.5, 2.7.
It depends.
It depends. That's why I put a
Has
question
it been
mark
modified?
after.
Has it not been modified?
So up they go. There's a Datsun 240Z in the mix there as well. The old 24 ounce, giving it to the Porsches, and an Alfa Romeo just ranging into the back of shot as well. And again, we're in that mid-pack around about 20th in the field. Brian Kearney in that Porsche. And then the 76 coming in close in behind in the 928.
It's a bit of a motorsport Epcot centre, isn't it, Darren? Germany, Britain, Italy, Japan, America.
Our race leader in the thoroughbred German machine. And just have a listen to that. You could close your eyes. You could be on Mulsanne Straight in the middle of the night in the 70s listening to Le Mans, couldn't you? Just an amazing note. Just so synonymous with the Porsche brand.
Or just in my dreams.
There you go. Car number 63 doing a brilliant job. And we have time elapsed on this one in the Apex Steels Group S race. The last lap board went out about half a lap ago. In fact, about 3/4 of a lap ago. This is an emphatic victory, actually, just under 6 seconds over a 5-lap journey is second and a half or second and a quarter per lap lead on his fellow contender, which is Joseph Di Bartoli in the Corvette, who won the whole shot down into turn 1 as they range up to take the checkered flag, and the Porsche, driven by Graham Golson, takes the first win for Group S for the weekend. It'll be Bartoli coming in through next. There's the man we all know and love, Joe Collegia, home in 3rd place. Had a ripping run at Sandown. He continues his great form in the AP Steel entry. Barber and the Myers. Damien Breed's home, Simon there in the end. Perlade in the 27, that magenta-coloured Porsche home in 7th. Jones, Tom Walstab, good drive there. Tom brings it home into position number 9 and doing a lovely job there in car number 3. I'm just trying to pick up where Tom started out of 10. So that's good. He's made a spot during that one. And the 27 of Vicky Perlade, that's a good run as well. Started out of 11th and finished 7th, so that's a good push at the front of the field. There is a huge field still streaming to the line.
Yeah, Darren, I know there's at least 52 guys that will care where they placed in the race, but I'm actually not one of those people. I thought this was just a great race to watch overall. There's so many categories within the race, so many races going on within this race, but it's been an absolute treat, I'm sure, for the viewers at home as well as everyone here at the track, to see the Group S guys go out with 52 amazingly beautiful cars.
Awesome to see. Outside the 10, Harrison home to Holtz. And there's a couple of non-finishers there. Skaggley, Breakstone, Wiedemiller. 13, Holtz, Harrison, Narkin. Ross Jackson home in 16th. And there we have the confirmation. Graham Golson, Joseph Di Bartoli, Joe Collegia, Doug Barber, Alex Webster. Nice drive there for Alex. Damien Meyer, Simon Meyer, James Kelvin-Jones, Brain Arkowitz, and Tom Walstab rounding out the 10 there as well. Nick Perlade. That's a bit confusing. Nick Perlade came home in 7th there, so we'll have a bit of a look at that timing. And we will be back with more in just a couple of moments.
Starting from the family garage, Cool Drive Auto Parts has grown into Australasia's preferred automotive aftermarket parts supplier. Even after more than 4 decades, we're proud to remain 100% Australian family-owned and operated. Today, Cool Drive supplies a comprehensive range of aftermarket parts and equipment, from air conditioning, electrical and engine management to performance, suspension tools, workshop consumables and more, supporting the automotive trade across the region. With 36 locations across Australia and New Zealand, a global supplier network and 24/7 online ordering platform, our passionate team is committed to delivering the right parts, expert advice and reliable service whenever workshops need it. Visit cooldrive.com.au to find out lots more.
Here on Victoria's Phillip Island, the question isn't where do you start, but why does it have to end? 101 square kilometres of amazing is waiting.
Live pictures on track of the charity rides being done there all weekend. $50 a ride for the Mail Bag Foundation. K&L on board the Erebus Mercedes V8 supercar going around the track here. Let's have a listen as he gives this a good punt. Ranges up onto the back of a Bolwell Nagari. Lucky enough to catch Kai this morning doing some other media commitments, and he said, what an absolute amazing opportunity he's been given this weekend to have a drive of this car. Comes up on the back of Ben Eggleston in the HRT outfit and getting a nice lap in here as well. These cars did actually race here. It's been a long time since we've seen a supercar here, and if these pictures don't prompt someone in that realm of Australian motorsport to get their act together and come racing here at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit, I don't know what will. But beautiful shots. Coming up next is the sports and racing cars groups P, Q and R, the 1970s to 90s cars. On board shots of Kyle and the current spec Grove Racing Supercars racer in the Mustang, but really enjoying this Z63 Erebus Motorsport Penrite car. Of course, Penrite celebrating 100 years of servicing all forms of mechanical and automotive and industrial equipment with their amazing lubricants. Across the line he goes, and that was a lap with Kai Allen in the magnificent Mercedes supercar. Penrite 100 celebrating 100 years. As we just wait now for the sports cars and open wheelers to make their way around track here. This was an amazing event at Sandown, at the historic Sandown event in November last year. It was very, very wet on the Saturday, and we didn't get to see a few of these cars, but this is amazing weather, and the cars start to leave pit exit right now. Guido Belginorno net. And he is driving none other than the number 27 Ferrari Formula One car. It is an amazing piece of kit. And the 27, I think, it's the Michele Alboreto car from the era. He's also got the 28 down there in the garage, which is the Stefan Johansson car. But Guido is leading the field around for the 70s and 90s sports and racing cars groups Q and R, as they make their way around. Andrew Madecki right alongside is in the number 6 there as well. And David Hardman, who is coming out of position number 3 in number 7. Tim Macro is in the first of the closed, let's call them sports cars, and that is the Pro Sport, the yellow and red shell entry there, numbered 111. So the Pro Sports SC91. Amazing looking cars as they make their way out onto the grid and start to form up. Darren Smith here, and right alongside me is Phil Memory joining us for these cars. Now these are ones that you can say quite easily iconic sports and racing cars, aren't they?
Oh, 100% right. I know. We've got one of the cars just come to the station and stopped. won't pick up the number on that car, but
that's,
right in the middle of the track, he's just stopped. I don't think it's...
Let's continue on with the grid sheet anyway. Andrew McCarthy in the number 16 is coming out on track there as well. That's the Mora MM82 motoring around there as well. Todd Willing back to the 74 of Malcolm Osler. Malcolm, a very experienced racer in the Rolls RT1. And let me tell you, in that era, the RT or the Rolls were something very, very special indeed. Andrew Culver is the next one out. There's the grid rolling through there as well. Vince Holland is out of position at number 10. Glenn Cooper is in the number 91. Looking forward to seeing Glenn out there in the Tiga GT285, a very special piece of kit. Declan Fu in the number 51. And Declan's in the Cheetah Mark 4. Michael Gibson is the next one out in the number 11. Now Michael comes from a very, very famous family, the Lola T590 out of Benalla. And they do a terrific job there as well. Then it's Kevin West to Stephen Webb, Noel Clark, Ian Ross, and not to be confused with the Ian Ross that's racing the Falcon in the Group C and Group A cars. Stan Adler. Now Stan's sharing with John Bowe here this weekend in the Porsche, and Stan starting out of position number 19. We go to Malcolm Boyd, Robert Cracknell, Graham Hughes, Colin Yude, Michael Clark, Rowan Little. Rowan is in the, I think he's in the Lola sports car, in fact. Rowan is part of the family that owns that blue BASF flak bow. But the 26 out of position number 26 is car number 48, which is definitely Rowan Little, the Lola T610. There's a lot of history in that one, so we will get onto that as we go too, Phil. So a car that had spent a lot of time living in Melbourne. We go to Michael Clark, Keith Williams, Kevin Gray, Robert Collinson, David James, Duncan Keller, Trevor Ross, Graham Hayes, Dean Hanger, and James Hagan, rounding out this field of 70s and 90s Q&R, Groups Q and R for Apex Steels. There's the Force 3 parked up there. That's not what we wanted to see. That's Ian Ross, the Acela PA5 2-litre Q sports racing car, forming up behind our safety car now and getting themselves ready for a rolling start. What's your thoughts? The Formula 2 from the 70s or the Formula 1 from the mid-80s?
I think I'd have to take the Formula 1. And Guido, really, really nice guy, pedals his car extremely quickly. And how good is it to bring two of you Ferrari Formula 1 cars to the event?
I love it. And the story behind that was that he had the car, he'd done some damage to it, it's gone back to the factory in Italy, and it was taking some time, so he thought he'd pay a visit and saw the car was very much unfinished, and there was the 28 car parked right next to it, and he said, well, in the meantime, I'll take that one.
I'll take that one as well, yeah.
I like the way Ferrari set them up, don't you? They have the one you own and then the next one along the line.
One you own and the one you want.
Yeah, I tell you what, hold your best breath, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not trackside, why not? Come and join us here, because this is about to scream your eardrums out. 100%. We are set to go, and away we go.
Guido got the jump on that start, made a good run from the start, already down into turn one, just sweeping away. I think I see Malcolm Osler doing quite well up near the pointy end there as well.
There's the Lola I was touching on there as well, down the field with Rowan Little at the wheel. Have a look at this big ring sweeping around to the outside there as well. The Budweiser King of Beers. Now what that car takes up an entire postcode down there. They start to work their way down. There's a Roll RT1, the black car. In fact, that might be that's carbon, that's yellow. But interestingly enough, is Tim Macro out in Pro Sport. He has got a lot of a challenge ahead of him, Tim. A multiple gold star and the open wheeler winner here and Formula 3 trim over many years, and really enjoying his sports car racing in this field, in this historic Q&R, these 70s to 90s sports and racing cars.
And some of the cars out there, of course, they started off with Formula 5000, and well, why not put a bit more of a body kit on it and turn it into a sports car?
There was the Formula 5000s either became sports cars, like the Alpine MS7, a famous example of that, or sports sedan, the Charger, the Cormac, things like that were very much this now. These are very lively sports cars we're looking at here.
2000s, they're great car. Oh,
Robert Leslie, the Tiga Sports 2000. Ooh, pulled up here. There's Graham Hughes, the Pro Sport LM 3000. Car was brought back after qualifying on a tow truck as well, so obviously whatever has plagued that car continues on, getting good shots now. That's Peter Thompson in the Tiga SC80 coming around the top end of the track. Amazing, glistening in the afternoon sunshine there, Phil. Stan Adler sweeping down now just to in front there. Stan 15th. And he was coming up onto the rear of Steve Webb in the Elfin 360 Repco Brabham. Wow, there's a whole lot of Australian motorsport right there in one car name, Elfin, Repco and Brabham.
Yeah, that's for sure. We saw lots of them last weekend at the Formula 1 Grand Prix. And car 17 is going again, so that's Noel Clark from Tasmania.
Interested to see just in front of this pack is I think it might be a Formula Holden, it may be a Formula 3000, which ran the similar sort of chassis, the Reynards, the Lolas, those bits of kit. But this is a great race we're seeing here, all in behind Stan Adler, and this is Boyd, Thompson, Cracknell, and Leslie, and Robert Leslie in the Tiga Sports 2000 there as well. A very, very lively series in the USA for quite some time. A little bit here, but more in the USA.
And there's lots and lots of Sports 2000s taking place in the UK. There's so many there that they have to have an A and a B race just to accommodate all the cars. I've met some of the guys that race over there, lovely guys, and incredibly keen on their Sports 2000s. Basically a standard 2-litre Ford engine at the back of that car, and sort of similar style of thing to the Formula Ford, being the open wheel single-seater, but these being the sports car.
This battle pack now, the Sports 2000s have gone through on Stan Adler. He's just moved over and has recognised that these very, very aero-efficient cars are going to come through on him. He just gets out of their way. There's Tim Macro in the red shell liveried Pro Sport, currently sitting P3 on the road. He's got, I think it's Dave Hardman just in front of him, and just in behind is Willing and then Osler.
Now Malcolm Osler is a really hard-punching driver. He's 5-time Australian hill climb champion. Oh, we got a little bit of footage there from car 44, and that's Todd Willing.
The Bass Coast replay just showing us there. Tim Macro just doesn't ease up on the wheel too often, Tim. He won't relinquish a spot like that, but he's had to do that. I think the spot has still been held, so Tim Willing is in 3, Macro in the 1-1-1 closed sport, going down the straight there. So he has had to relinquish that spot. The Formula 2 car looking down the inside there as well. And Mark Potter, no, not here in the commentary booth right now. We've got Phil Memory.
He's gone missing.
Joining us. Not too sure where Mark ended up, but was supposed to be calling this one as well. But a great run here. Andy Madecki, now we're getting a good look at him. That car for many, many years was hung up on the wall in his car dealership.
That's right. And what a beautiful car that is. It is so beautifully presented. And just really, really good to see so many of these cars out there and competing. Again, I see Malcolm Osler in the shot there. Absolutely demon driver. Oh, a bit of a taper there too.
Wheel-to-wheel action.
Yeah, he doesn't hold back.
It's certainly left a signature down the side of the Pro Sport with Macro. Looks like he's slowing. Actually, he might have been trying to get out of the way there of Malcolm Osler.
Well, of course, a car like that, it's really hard to see a little open wheeler coming down the inside of you. And that's a bit unfortunate, but that's race.
Let's have a look. Macro looks to have slowed there. He's eased out wide. and would not have seen the RT1 sliding up beside him there. Thanks to the Bass Coast Shire, they've done a terrific job, and it's been lovely to have Rochelle Housestead with us here this weekend, the Mayor of Bass Coast, and enjoying this massive motorsport festival. The 77 comes to a halt. Robert Cracknell. Now, Robert was in that battle pack we were just enjoying.
It's unfortunate for him, and that looks like down to the driver's left down into turn one. He's pulled it well clear of the track.
An R Sports Racing designated car, that one, of Rob Cracknell, Tiga SC80 Sports 2000, and of course we were talking about Kevin Gray, Colin Ewald also in the Tigers.
And I see Keith Williamson from South Australia there in a Clubman style car, doing a really good job as well.
This is Rowan Little. This is the car I touched on as they were driving out here in this magnificent Le Mans car. And they ran I'm going to say vulnerable, not venerable, DFV engine in these cars in Le Mans. And this one was actually the one that made it to hour 8, and it was the longest lasting one of the lot. They now run a different power plant, but this car sat in a shed in Dandenong under the ownership of Bob Gill after the 1984 World Championship event, which was held at the extended Sandown circuit.
Yep.
Let's call it the White Elephant. It's long enough ago in history. It didn't do much other than that. And now there's hardly even any part of that track left at Sandown, but that particular Lola was Bob Gill picked up. That car didn't head back to Europe after that, and up until Bob passed away 18 months ago, an auction was held, and all of his equipment was sold off, and the Little family have spent, I'm not going to tell you how much because I don't know, and I don't even want to hazard a guess, but if there's any friends and family, not a lot of money, but we'll dig down on that if we possibly can, and I don't think we'll ever get told the truth.
Just watching Guido there in the Ferrari Formula One car, taking it very gentle as he makes his passing manoeuvres. Some of the slower cars, he's just easing up behind them, pick it off with the right foot when they're in a straight line, do it nice and easy, keep it all safe. He's so far out in front, doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, he's just out there having fun.
I've got to say, it's probably actually something more to David Hardman here than the fact that he's only 8 seconds off the back of this mid-80s Formula One car out of the prancing horse on his last lap, grabbing a gear there, coming down into MG. And I reckon it'd be pretty cool, actually, just getting lapped by this car and just getting him behind it for a little bit and having a listen to it. Coming around in car number 27, the Michele Alboreto car from back in the day is being driven by Guido Belgino. Nets onto the straight and the checkered flag. He takes the first win for the weekend in the group's Q&R, 70s to 90s sports and racing cars. Does it very, very nicely indeed. And I've got to say, David Hardman started out of position number 3 in the Hardman JH1. Not many people get to drive a car in their own name.
No, they don't. And, well, Jack Brabham did it. And what a career he had. So starting off in Australia, driving speedway cars, which he built for someone else who wanted to race. And then that guy retired, said Jack decided, maybe I'll have a bit of a drive. That was his introduction to motorsport. He sort of did all right after that.
He did, didn't he? Have a look at this. This is a magnificent McLaren M6B. Andy Newell at the wheel here. And Andy's going to ultimately finish in 13th place. But an amazing piece of kit, isn't it? We've got a number of these here this weekend. George Vidovic, a great Victorian, famous. I think he'd prefer to be referred to as infamous, but a lovely bloke, George. His McLaren. He's racing in the next category out there amongst the bigger bangers as well. So really good to see. We were supposed to see the Hesketh out amongst this mob.
We were. I'm not sure that it managed to get through customs.
so it may have not even made its way to the track. I certainly didn't see it in my track or my pit walk this morning, which started from 8:30 and went through till 11:30. I don't know where that time went.
No, you don't.
It's catching up with lots of people and seeing
it's a
some
shame
amazing bits
if the Hesketh is somewhere around and not here. That's a real shame. I managed to sit in that car just a few short years ago when it was here before.
Confirmation here, Guido Belgiorno net in the Ferrari takes first blood there as well. Then it is Hardman to Willing, Andy Madecki, Malcolm Osler, Tim Macro, McLaughlin, Holland, McCarthy and Clark rounding out our 10. Declan Fu, Michael Gibson in 11th there as well. And cars just coming around to get back into the pit lane here. Big thank you and shout out to everyone that has joined us already here at the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic. We've ticked a couple of boxes early, the Regularity, the Group S sports cars and the Group P, Q and R race, which we've just had out on track. We're looking forward to seeing the K&L and Formula Vee, their first race coming up on track next. In fact, we've just got a couple of cars doing their Scenic Hot Laps with the Mailbag Foundation. A very timely reminder, Phil. The Mailbag Foundation is raising money to buy biopsy equipment for prostate cancer. And let me tell you, for $50 a lap, go down and see Julian, which is just behind the entry to the Paddock area. The sign says Paddock entry, historic Paddock, and the Penrite 100 years logo. He's tucked in behind there to get that all done as well. So that's what these cars are going around. The Scenic Hot Lap for the Mailbag. Come down for $50. You can get a lap around here this weekend, and what a magnificent weekend to do it.
And I'm sure that they'd be happy to accept donations
absolutely,
as well.
Yep, a very worthy cause. We all know the standard method of getting that check done, and if you can do it without invasive means, then all for it. So let's keep an eye on that. Let's have a quick break before we get back to racing.
What started with a 16-year-old's dream in St Kilda, 1926, became one family's legacy. Inspiring all Australians on 2 wheels, 4 wheels, and big wheels. Under the ground, on the ground, and soaring high above it.
It's been one heck of a journey, but it's not over yet.
Penrite Oil, celebrating 100 years, still driven.
Okay, we've got these cars out on track and they are making their way around. These are the mailbag cars heading back into the track at the moment. And what a great thing that mailbag thing is that Darren was just talking about. Mark Bissett comes in alongside me and we're about to go through the grid of these cars on track. So in position 1, Mark, very good to have you here. We have Reed in 1, Raper in 2, Scott Ball in 3, Allers in position 4, Sam Diamond in 5, Shane Bowden in 6, Puccinelli in 7, Max Pegram, another chap from Wangaratta up in the northeast, in position 8. E. Mitchell in 9 and Sprague in position 10. D. Jeffries in 11. Bates in 12. Miller in 13. The other Raper, Louise Raper, in position 14. P. Doherty in 15. Jack Waldron in 16. Rundle in 17. Brown in 18. Lebrano in 19. Connor Ryan in position 20. And we have gaps, obviously, because then we have the Formula Vees running around at the back of the track. And I can't see them actually out on track at the moment. We've got a bit of a blank screen here, Mark.
The interesting thing, Phil, is going to be in terms of the J, Ks and Ls is Connor Ryan off the back of the grid. His big American beastie, the Deming Fueling Special, had an oil pressure relief valve problem during practice. It's potentially and probably the fastest car in the field. So keep an eye on car 77, folks, because Connor will be blasting from the back of the grid with a very powerful silver missile.
Yeah, that certainly is quite the missile, and he drives it really, really well. Often gets a little bit of that nasty blue smoke coming up off the tyres as he comes out of some of the corners. So that will be spectacular to watch. And Mark, you've been around motor racing for a long time. How good is it to be here at Phillip Island?
Oh, look, it's fabulous. 22 degrees at the moment, Phil. Not too hot for the cars, not too hot for the drivers. Great mix of great field of pre-1930, 1940 and 1960 J's, K's and L's, and then a separate grid of Formula V's. I cut my teeth more years ago than I care to discuss with you in these cars, and they may only have 40 horsepower or so, but they are very quick little devices under brakes and through the corners. So effectively we've got 2 races, a Formula V contest, then J, K and L, and of course there are subgroups within that we probably won't worry about too much during the telecast.
Yeah, and I think we've got something like 16 Formula V's out there in this group, and they're very, very interesting. They come down the straight, they all sit one behind the other, drafting one another, and then all of a sudden it's a bit like a starburst at the end of the straight when they all sort of duck out of the draft and try and get that passing manoeuvre down into a corner. One of the things you don't do in a Formula V is take your foot off the throttle.
Exactly. They're very much momentum cars. Here the guys will be only using 2 gears, third and top. I don't think you're even using second at MG. So it's, as Phil said, it's very much a case of maintaining speed, not brushing off too much under brakes either.
Yeah, that's right. So our grid positions coming up on our screen there. David Reed, Graham Raper, Scott Ball, a boy from Camperdown down in the Western District. Keith Allers, a long way from home. He's from the UK. Samantha Diamond, Shane Bowden, Costatelli Piccinelli, and Max Pegram from Wangaratta. We've got people from all over the place. Position 9, Charlie Mitchell, and position 10, Raymond Sprague. We then move through position 11, Daniel Jeffries. 12 is Barry Bates. Jared Miller, Louise Raper in position 14, Paul Doherty in 15, Jack Waldron, John Rundle, Rachel Brown, and Peter Lubrano, and Connor Ryan in position 20. We then have that bit of a gap. We've got Christopher Jackson in position 25, Joshua Lowing in 26, Andrew Grievous-James in 27, Dean Briggs. Now, Dean, I'm surprised to see him back there. Dean is a very, very fast punter in these Formula V's. Position 28 for Dean. Julian Bingle in 29, Glenn Briggs in 30. 25, there we go. We got the scroll go. And Grant Kelly in 31, Ross McMillan in 32, Adam Thompson in 33, Gregory Johnson 34, Evelyn McCarthy in 35. Harrison Saylor in 36. Brendan Saylor in 37. Robert Willits in 38. And Matt Corish in 39 with Lee Ball. Another boy from Camperdown. Wow. So we have father and son in this race. And I have on occasions called Father, Son and the Holy Ghost because Jeff Ball, the father of Scott, has also been a racing person for a few years. He's a little bit older now, but good to see that we've got the father and the son out there. They're coming down into the starting grid.
Formula V's off first, and a very good representative group of 16 cars with Elfins, the dominant make, Elfins and Elfin copies. There's a variety of other cars, including Renmax Mark 1. So on the front of the grid is Chris Jackson and
Reed in the car 50. That's an ex-Noel Bull. Well, it is a Noel Bull car, if I read my memory correctly.
And there's Connor Ryan I mentioned earlier, just
on screen,
joining the grid on screen. Hopefully he's going to be able to take the start because it'll be quite spectacular, folks, watching him blast away from the rear with quite a lot of horsepower under his right foot. I sat in that thing yesterday, Phil. You wouldn't believe how cramped it is. Yep. It's an American sprint car, so it's set up primarily for ovals, and everything's awfully close to you.
Well, it looks like on screen that it's actually got an offset in the body on the wheelbase there, so the bodywork sat off to the right-hand side.
Go to these.
So these guys get underway. We've got a few seconds, and then the checkered flag. Sorry, not the checkered flag. The green light will show for the second group, and already we see the Formula V's spread out on the track. A bit like dropping your spaghetti, really, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Josh Lowing leading into Southern Loop.
So they're running around there, and very, very quick little motor cars. You know, like 38 horsepower, drum brakes. If you've got 40, you're doing well. If you've got more than that, you're probably cheating. Here we go. And the second group underway, and I think Connor Ryan has already leapt right just about all the way through. Yes, he's in front of that group already. So from the rear of the grid, off he goes. He's down the front already.
Graham Raper leading. Car 18 is Ray Sprague.
Yep. So making their way now around the Southern Loop. Raper there on the inside. 57 going around the outside.
Is Barry Bates in the Thompson Special, which is a Lola Mark 1 lookalike. And Louise Raper in car 41 SoCal, one of the 3 or 4 specials built by George Reed in Bathurst.
So on screen we've got car 14 there, Mark, and 103 I think it was.
John Rundle's Australian Special.
So lots of Australian specials getting around, and good to see them out on track. Car 14 from Queensland.
Josh Lowing still has the lead. Car 80 is Chris Jackson. Jackson, father and son, are racing here today. Ross and a De Tomaso Pantera.
So there we see just that little bit of a drafting exercise around that top corner. And as soon as they came onto the straight, here we go, down through the start-finish line, 3 wide across there. That's not uncommon in Formula V's. And if you're in a Formula V and you're drafting the car in front, when you've got to pop out, you've got to pop out. Otherwise, it's going to be an accident. You have no option. You've just got to go. So I'm wondering where Briggsy is in this. Dean Briggs currently in position 3 on their screen. Got to pick him up on track.
It's Kelly in car 40. We got Chris Jackson in 80. Josh Lowing in 58.
So, and Briggs, he's lurking perhaps It might be a more appropriate word, in fourth spot.
Grant Kelly and the Stag leading.
Yeah, so
more changes of leadership than we can keep up with.
Oh, yeah. There's more changes going on out there than there are hairstyles on High Street, I can tell you.
Yeah.
So, up the back straight they come.
Kelly, Jackson, Lowing and Briggs, folks. Bass Straight in the background. Doesn't get better than that, does it?
No. What a place to go racing. And Briggs has a bit of a look down the inside there of Josh Lowing. Not going to make it there. Unusual to see Briggsy back in the field. He's normally the man out in the lead of these events. He has been out of it for a little while. I think he took a bit of a sabbatical. Right. And he's back out there pedalling his way out on the track, doing a great job.
What a fabulous race.
These guys are so close together. It's a fabulous race, as Mark just mentioned.
Flat
and
out.
Look at that. You can see from Blendline TV how close these guys are, almost touching. The drafting goes on. I'll duck to the left a little bit and, try and break that draft. But the driver behind does the follow. Tries to hang right in that draft and get a draft all the way down the straight.
Ooh, look
now
at
we're
Josh
four
Lowing
wide coming down into
inside.
turn one. Great job there.
Pulls it off. Well
Yeah,
done.
that was a good pass. Flows it through there and head off up to the southern loop. Whips it around there. All line astern. Oh, we've got one turned around and facing in the wrong direction.
Ford
Is he
Roadster,
going
I think.
Yeah,
from the rear.
the Roadster, and he's got it
Lukey
going.
Heights.
Up on Lukey Heights, he's got it going and moving out of the road. So,
Chris Jackson having a bit of a look.
yep, out the front. I'm waiting on Josh Lowing to come up on these guys. I haven't seen him come through on our screen, but
No,
I'm
he's
sure
leading, Phil.
He is. He's broken through these guys. I missed
Briggs.
that.
It's Lowing, Jackson, Kelly, and Briggs. Jackson having another look on the outside. He's not going to go through there, though.
No, it's interesting. Here we go.
Lukey Heights.
The Ford Roadster. Big slide on the outside of Lukey
Look,
Heights.
That's the replay, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
so
the replay.
It's actually Ray Sprague.
Yeah.
And that 32 Ford or thereabouts.
That was an exciting moment for him. He got out in that green stuff. They can sometimes turn into the green accelerator once you
here
get
we
on
go,
there.
folks.
Here we
Into
go.
MG,
Back to
Lowing.
Formula V's.
Again.
They're really putting it on out here.
Chris Jackson still in second, Phil, and Kelly in third. Grant Kelly.
So,
Proverbial wet blanket.
yeah, very, very close. Man's handkerchief, throw it over the top of him. Briggs trying to come down through the inside there. Not able to pull that one off. He'll be champing at the bit. He's not used to racing behind other guys. He'll be having an absolute ball. He'll be really enjoying this.
High-speed chess, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yep. So, and Briggsy's been around Formula V a long time, so he may be doing a bit of sandbagging.
Here we go.
But he's not the sort of bloke to sandbag.
Southern loop again.
So, Lowing still out in front.
there.
Jackson, Kelly, Briggs, Grievous, Bingley, Briggs, Ball, McLough, Johnson, Mitchell, Pegram, Max Pegram up there as well. So, doing a great job. Meanwhile, back in the Formula V's, these guys are wheel-to-wheel racing, and it is so, so good. Cheap way to get into motor racing. The cars aren't all that expensive to purchase second-hand.
Probably going to be able to do it for not much over 20 grand, Phil. So, folks, if you're sitting on the sidelines and have got that sort of money and would love to have a go, there'll be no shortage of people in the Formula V Association that'll help you.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Chris Jackson is still leading from Josh Lowing.
Yes, I just in the background been given a bit of a tap on the shoulder. The meatball flag is being shown for somebody. I'm not too sure who. But if we can pick that up, we will bring that information to you. never good to be shown the meatball flag. Oh, a bit of a tight wheel lock up there. Under brakes. And of course, these have got drum brakes. Dean Briggs off the track. That's unusual for Dean.
Lost the momentum. He's going to struggle to
he'll be
get
struggling
back on
to catch
the back
up.
of the train.
Yep. You've
Blowing
got
Jackson and Briggs still. Absolutely nothing in it, is there?
Not a thing. And here we go. We're coming down the front straight again. Let's see what goes. Coming down. Still can't figure out who that meatball flag is for.
With Kelly having a run on the inside.
Yep, and 3 wide again across the start-finish line. Briggs is caught up. He's managed to bridge the gap, but he's not able to make the pass.
Grant Kelly.
I reckon Briggs is lurking. I reckon he's just sort of sleeping away there, going, I'm going to leave it until the last minute, guys, and then I'm just going to come whipping around the outside. But he's got 3 cars in front of him. They're going to be pretty wide on the track in front of him.
There's Chris Jackson making a plunge.
This is a stellar drive out the front. These guys are wheel-to-wheel racing, lap after lap. And you cannot say...
plenty of racing room, aren't they? It's a nice...
absolutely.
Fair fight. No holds barred, but a fair fight.
Great respect for each other on track, and all the racing respect, but all of the competitive urge comes to the fore.
Josh Lowing, again, it's got to be a toss-up between he and Chris Jackson as to who's led the most laps or parts thereof.
Yep.
How many have we got to go?
Over on our screen there, I can't quite see it.
Here we go.
It's a timed event, so we've got 1 minute and 57 remaining, is it? So it's not far from the finish. So we think they're on their last lap.
Josh Lowing still in the lead.
Now they've got
Chris
traffic
Jackson
to contend with as they pass the 66 car, I think it was.
Little Lotus 11 copy.
Yep. And just hearing in the background that they are on the last lap. So this is going to be checkered flag is out.
Josh Lowing's got it.
And of course Josh has just about lapped the entire field.
Dean Briggs in second, Chris Jackson third, and Grant Kelly fourth. The leader of the JKs and Ls is Raper in Monoscape. Keith Harler's in the Little Lola.
Now, what did I say about Briggs? He was just lurking at the back there. He's pulled it out on the last lap. Managed to get past him without me seeing and come in second spot. That was an incredible manoeuvre. I might have to have a chat to him.
0.6 of a second. There you go.
Great effort.
Nothing in it.
So there we have it. Checkered flag out and allowing Briggs, Jackson, Kelly, Raper, Allers, Grievous, Ball, Scott Ball, I think that one doing well. Bingley, Briggs, Mitchell, Bates, Doherty, Raper, Miller, Spragg, and my screen flips away. So a great race there, Mark.
J, K's and L, Graham Raper, I should say, Keith Allers, and is it Louise Raper?
Louise Raper.
Okay.
Husband and wife out there. They have a great time on track. Always good to see the two of them out there, and they're a lovely couple to go and have a bit of a chat too as well in the pits if you make sure they're not busy, but wander up and say hello. They're lovely people.
Both do the cars justice, beautifully prepared. Both cars have been in continuous use for probably the best part of 50 years. Ford V8s of different spec, both very quick cars.
And I think that's the last car across the finish line there. So we take a break. Oh, here we go. We've got the listings on our screen for the Blendline TV at home. Joshua Lowing, Dean Briggs, Christopher Jackson, Grant Kelly, Graham Raper, Keith Ellers, Andrew Grievous-James, Lee Ball, Julianne Bingley and Glenn Briggs. We'll take a break and we'll be right back after this. Big thank you to Cool Drive.
So many beautiful cars, including this Mark 6 Cheetah. Now this, for people who are watching from home who don't know what this is, it's actually an Australian developed and built open wheeler wings and slicks car by Brian Sheed. And the current custodian of this car is John Ellery. He's running away. John Ellery. Now, he's just moving the, he's got to pick up his microphone there. Come on, John.
There you go.
Now, mate, welcome to this weekend. This has been a pride and joy of yours for the past few years, but to see it in the flesh, it's absolutely awesome. But firstly, you're competing in regularity this weekend. Now, that's got its own set of challenges, doesn't it? Because you haven't got a clock, you haven't got anything to reference the time.
Look, to put it mildly, I'm a Gumby, all right? So I leave the driving to my son, who's pretty good at it, as you know. And but look, I'm just having a bit of fun. I've got two cheetahs. One is a Mark IV, and I've got this one is a Mark VI. This one has got a lot more history because this car won the 1979 Australian Formula 2 Championship, and it was Brian Sheed's original car, and he was using this as his development from 1976 through to 1980. So it's been around and about, a bit like Grandpa's old axe.
Yep.
But it's now got back to having a Celica pushrod 2T engine in it, and it goes quite well.
It goes quite well with you behind the wheel, but what I have noticed is the shag pole carpet inside. Yeah. You were saying that Brian did like to travel in style and comfort, didn't he?
That is 50-year-old shag pile, original Brian Sheed. When I got the car, it wasn't quite that colour, but I ended up cleaning it up.
Yep.
It was almost white. But I've cleaned it up and dyed it the appropriate colour because I have all the original photos of it. If you see over there on the thing, you'll see Brian's dog as well in his backyard. So,
and it's also a big shout out to his nephew.
Yep.
We've got Mike Ballard here this weekend. Of course, he is the owner and proprietor of Spectrum Racing Cars in Braeside in Victoria, but he grew up admiring his uncle, and he's still making Australian-built open-wheeler racing cars in Formula 4 to this day, but he is here this weekend spinning spanners.
He's already been over and have a look at it, as is Mike's one. I've known Mike for a number of years because my son raced with Mike, and we've always been very loyal to the Spectrum brand in Formula 4, and it was only natural that I ended up, getting one of Brian's uncle's cars. So, Mike's uncle's cars. So Brian's name lives on. Unfortunately, he died probably 3 years ago now. A great loss, but a brilliant in the same sort of league as Gary Cooper with the Elfins, and so he was. So him and Brian Sheed were two Australian sort of, of this, late 70s sort of era. So the Elfin and the Cheetah were the go-to cars. I spoke to John Bowe yesterday, and because this car beat John in 1979 for the Australian Formula 2 Championship, and John says, I've got bad memories.
Yeah. No, look, thank you so much for joining us here at the 2026 Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic. Plenty more action coming your way shortly.
Cars on track now for the historic touring cars. I'm Darren Smith, and right alongside me, that nothing escapes his gaze. And it's a gaze, I tell you. You're being stared at when Darren Knight is staring you down. It's like being at the end of a sniper's rifle. The accurate one, Darren Knight. Welcome to the Penrite 100 Classic for 2026.
G'day Darren, g'day everyone at the track here at the beautiful Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit, and very good afternoon to everyone watching us on Blendline TV. It's great to have Blendline here at the Penrite 100 Classic for the very first time, Daz. Great thrill to have them on board, and it is race 1 for Group N historic touring cars coming up.
I'm going to have to jump on and try and get this grid through very, very quickly. Paul Stubber to Adrian Moyle, Ian Mewett to Scott Pearce, Andrew Baird to Peter McNiven, Trevor Talbot to Mark Tesori, Jeff Mundy to Graham Woodhouse, Robert Burns, Ben Trengove, Daniel Van Stockman, Peter Muellerman, Ashley Heffernan, Stephen Pillikers. Then we go to Jervis Ward, Alexander Bland, Rod Hodgkin, Leo Tobin, Craig Allen, Ray Hepburn, Darren Jones, David Street, Milan Zizek, Tony Gilfus, Craig Miles, Brett Hodgkin, Ken Waller, Stuart Young. Your turn, Daz, your turn.
We're just scrolling through very quickly. What a field. This is over 2 litre Group N historic touring cars, so we have the smaller cars coming up a bit later this afternoon.
I tell you what, Paul Stubber, iconic in these parts, comes all the way over from the west. And an amazing story. He's got the ex-Alan Moffat RX-7. You couldn't pick a guy that races a Camaro and he's got one of the ex-Alan Moffat RX-7s, and we're about to cut loose with historic touring cars.
A rolling start. So a good launch from Paul Stubber from pole position down into Doohan Corner for the first time. Stubber leads from Moyle, so 69 Camaro over 68 Camaro at the moment at the head of the field. And around goes Trevor Talbot in the 76 Camaro. Peter McNiven in one of the fastest Mazdas in the country has been caught up in that, and also Graham Woolhouse. So not sure what kicked all that off.
That's
There's
just
damage to the door of the McNiven Mazda.
Back of the top 10, in fact, where that has happened, and that's a real shame. No Darren Hossack in the purple Mazda anymore. He's moved that on, but that's a shame. This car's a race-winning car at Winton.
It is, and Malalar's also some great results. Very disappointing to see the significant damage to the side of the number 13 RX2 of Peter McNiven.
Race does go on up ahead, though. It is Paul Stubber that leads the way in that very famous yellow Camaro. There goes Peter Muellerman, who had a rough run at Sandown only 3 weeks ago. He managed to change a gearbox between races by himself with one crew member, and he even came and had a chat to us to tell us all about it as well.
Here's the replay. Looks like Talbot got loose. Not sure if he got a tap, but unfortunately he's collected the Mazda of Peter McNiven, who was an innocent bystander at that Turn 1 incident.
Very big thank you to the Bass Coast Shire for helping us out with all the replays on our telecast, and indeed right across this event. Great to have the Bass Coast Shire on board with this event. Nice long shot to see all these Mustangs. Look, a Capri sneaking in there as well. The number 33, Alex Bland, in the mix there. So the little Ford just putting the nose in.
On screen we have that beautiful black Mustang, as Darren mentioned, of Pete Muehlman, one of the fastest pre-65 Group N cars in the country. So a couple of classes out there. The pre-65 cars are Group NB, and the cars running from 65 to the end of 72 are Group NC.
Great shots down the straight. Just in front of Muellerman there is Allen and Hodgkin. That's the number 70 sneaking through there, Rob Burns.
In the Charger, we've seen Rob being very quick over the years in historic touring cars behind the wheel of a Charger. Now behind this wheel, the number 70-69 Camaro, bright blue.
We've got someone off in the dirt there down at Southern Loop. A lot of dust up in the air.
I hope that wasn't Burns. We just
For your
mentioned
sake,
him.
I do too.
Just waiting to pick up who that was, kicking up the dust.
Oh, there's a whole lot of gravel coming out of the silver. That's a Trengove Camaro, I think there. I wonder if that was one that went off into the stones.
Andrew Beard, in fact.
Andrew Beard, sorry, yeah.
Who we've seen him be very quick, particularly at Sandown, so he may have had a little excursion there. As we look at the yellow number 17, 68 Ford Mustang of Daniel Van Stockram, taking over from his dearly departed dad, Rob, who was a great friend of everyone on the historic touring car Paddock. So Daniel usually driving his own XU1, now behind the wheel of that number 17 Ford Mustang.
Do you know if the XU1's still in the family?
Yes, had a pretty heavy hit at Sandown a couple of years ago.
Falcon Sprint just off the back here as we get good shots of the GTHO of Rodney Hodgkin.
Hot Chicken, as he's nicknamed by everyone in the paddock. His brother Brett, he's known as Chips, so we've got Chicken and Chips. Both driving XY Falcons. Great to see the Aussie Ford out there as it is, the number 69 Ford Mustang of Michael Michelli.
It really is good to see a GTHO out there. They were a world car. They're an Australian car that was famous around the world. Four-door touring car that absolutely in that homologation era was a step ahead of absolutely everyone. And good to see when you think of the value of these cars and what they're up to. When guys are out there racing them, they're putting everything on the line, aren't they?
Certainly are. Hodgkin in the number 48 Red XY chasing the number 69 Fastback Mustang of Michelli. Just behind Hodgkin on screen now is the number 41 Falcon Sprint of Craig Allen from Queensland. Just getting rounded up there by Van Stockman. But the Falcon Sprint of Allen in that beautiful turquoise colour making its race debut this weekend.
Really does look nice. I was walking through the historic touring car Paddock, and I had a double take and had to stop and have a bit of a look at that. It's not a menacing Group N type of colour that you like to see, like a dark blue or a black or something like that we're seeing on screen now. But a real lovely turquoise.
Yeah, a real 60s production car colour, if you like. Very popular. The E.H. Holden, though, was very popular with that white roof, with that turquoise colour. Adrian Moyle, though, has his hands full with the Ford Mustang behind him of Ian Mewett from Queensland. Just got a replay here of Moyle making a bit of a boo-boo down there at the hairpin, and that's allowed the Mustangs of Mewett and Scott Pearce to get right on his tail.
Good shots now out of the front pack. That's Moyle. Stubbers cleared out up the road. In fact, 6.6 seconds lap. This is a time-certain event. It's going to go for probably 5 laps. A minute and a half left in this. Let's hope we can get Paul Stubber around for another lap.
And this is the battle for second place at the moment. So Moyle in the number 25 black and silver Camaro. Ian Mewett in third. In the number 55 Mustang with that bright Grabber Lime, number 21 Fastback Mustang of Scott Pearce in fifth.
Is that the paint designation colour, is it?
Grabber Lime.
There you go. Why not? Like the Holden Peel Me a Grape Purple. Yep.
Or Strike Me Pink XU1.
I wonder what they were doing, those creative departments back in the day.
Or there could have been some nose-clearing materials perhaps used in the marketing department, as they have been for years.
They could have been. Look at this. This is a great run for it. A really big push here.
Moyle, Mewett and Pearce.
This is Moyle here in the 25 Camaro. And he has all but waved goodbye to Paul Stubber. And Stubber is at the top of the hill now. So he's got himself a 6.3 second lead, or verging on top of the hill, just skating through shot there. As the 25 of Moyle, Pearce and then Trengove in the mix there. And far down the back of Shot Monday and Hefferton.
Still this battle rages between Hodgkin and the Falcon, trying to chase down the yellow and black number 17, 68 Ford Mustang of Daniel Van Stockram.
12th, 13th, 14th and 15th on the road here, so it's like the World Championship Group N outside the top 10. The GTHO in a pony sandwich at the moment.
Millman in the all-black number 43 machine, not too far away from the tail of Hodgkin. Then it's Alex Bland and that very quick Ford Capri from New South Wales shares the driving with Dad Quentin. Doing a great job. Look at him put the pressure on the V8 ahead of him, Daz.
Certainly is. Waging a great battle. Have a look at this. This Capri is just absolutely there with them. Racer Industries logos emblazoned across the windscreen of the Group Ns this weekend.
Great to have Racer Industries and Cool Drive come on board as category sponsors for Group N historic touring cars in Victoria this year. They certainly do put their money where their mouth is, with their livelihood dependent on motorsport, and it's great to see Racer Industries and Cool Drive putting back into the sport with category sponsorship, Daz.
Yeah, and a famous family, the Blanchards, in the background of both those organisations, and it would feel strange not having the Blanchards being a part of it, as we get great shots of Paul Stubber, who famously in some footage from years gone by, leading a race here, just kicked the back end out and put on an absolute show. I touched on the RX-7. He's got the 43 RX-7 of Alan Moffat in Group C spec.
Which munched through 2 gearboxes this morning, unfortunately. Yesterday, I should mention. So it's on display down here, folks, if you're at the track. So come and have a look at it behind the pits. But unfortunately, did not have enough gearboxes in the kitty to see the little rotary back out there racing.
There
and he started this early. This usually happens on Sunday afternoon.
It does, doesn't it? He's got a good 6.5 second lead here. He likes to celebrate a victory and does it very, very well indeed. And that is a skill in itself. Last lap, he might have wound it up just a little bit of a lap too early there, Daz.
That's
still
a bit
got to
of a
get
worry.
those rears to the finish there.
That's right.
Mr. Stubber.
There's some nervous moments there for crew, Matt. So hopefully he hasn't gone too early. With 1 lap still to go in this race 1 for the over 2-litre Group N historic touring cars, brought to us by Racer Industries.
Doing a lot of racing in the States as well, Paul. He's supporting some young drivers in the States and really enjoying what he does when he heads over to North America, but always comes back to do this sort of event.
And in fact has been racing, has given up the Speedway and is now he's doing some guest driving of a 69 Camaro, as you would expect, in the States, as it raced on some of the great circuits there. Picked up a few set-up tips, which is why we're seeing that familiar number 31 sitting a bit lower at the front this weekend. They're trying to tell me that it's not, but it is. And a spin for Jeff Monday in his 68 Chevy Camaro.
You had the ruler out, have you, mate? You've taken the measurement?
No, I'm a commentator, not an engineer, as everybody knows.
It's not a good time to spin there towards the end of the race here, but here we go. Paul Stubber, a great story. A little bit of understeer there, so maybe put a little bit too much weight over those front wheels.
I don't know if those tyres are going to reappear tomorrow morning, Darren.
Yeah, well, he's given the backs a bit of a torch and he's understeering with the fronts there. So you've got to hand it to him, though. He always tries something different, always trying to improve this car. But I think you're right, Darren. That car has definitely got a rake towards the front.
Yep, and it's certainly working because he has taken a very big lead in this first race for the Group N historic touring cars. So Paul Stubber heading towards the checkered flag and will open his account for the weekend very shortly.
I tell you what, though, he's lost 4 seconds on the last lap there. It's down to 2.87. I guess when you can munch away at that, and a victory.
Good drive from Adrian Moyle in his 68 Camaro. Ian Mewett will come home in third. Must be an issue with timing, though. Scott Pearce, unfortunately, has beached his beautiful Mustang down the hill there from Lukey Heights.
A new car to the category and to Scott.
Second year for Scott in the series and has really come in at the sharp end as well. So that's disappointing. He was running right up there in the top 4. So Pearce, he has deposited his pony car into the sand. So that means Ian Mewett will come through in third. Just wondering why his timing is not coming off the screen track. Some timing issues there with the transponder.
Still coming screaming to the line. The Bass Coast replay. There's Scott Pearce and... well, that's how he ended up in the sand trap ultimately. Right. Great Bass Coast replay there and dug himself in, probably selecting...
Well, now he knows how deep that sand trap is, Darren.
Don't trust it. They sink from underneath you.
Little bit different material, the sand traps here. Of course, we've got to look after MotoGP bikes that do 360 kilometres an hour, so the material's different.
Yeah, but do we anymore?
Yeah, well, not now. Not after this year, we won't.
No. So Stubber, Moyle, Trengo, Baird, Heffernan, Mewett, Burns, Ward, Daniel Van Stockton, Peter Mullerman, and that rounds out our 10. Rodney Hodgkin into the 10. So provisional results there. So sometimes we get results, others it's provisional. Graham Woolhouse, Leo Tobin, Jeff Monday, Craig Allen, Darren Jones, Stephen Pillikers, Scott Pearce, Brett Hodgkin, Stuart Young, Alexander Bland, as we have a whole lot of more cars coming through. Just trying to catch, actually, where Michael Michelli ended up, only for the 24th. So that's interesting. Only got 4 laps done there for...
He's having clutch issues in qualifying this morning, Michael, so perhaps that's reared its head again. He was definitely out there circulating, but well down the usual order he is in.
2 big names, of course. McNiven not getting through to the race end after that punch on down at turn number 1 as we head down to Callum Brannigan with Kai Allen.
Thank you, Darren. Down here in the Eggleston Motorsport Garage, there's an absolute plethora of V8 supercars down here, and yourself, mate. Firstly, welcome to the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic. It's fantastic to have you here. What a fantastic Grand Prix weekend it was for you. You were seemingly P nowhere, but you finished P3 on the weekend. That was a mega result, all things considered.
Yeah, obviously very cool. We had a good weekend of the Grand Prix, like you mentioned, and had a lot of car speed. Just didn't quite get the results. So it's one of those things around there. It's absolute chaos and a lot of fun. But yeah, we still had a fifth and a fourth, which was good. But yeah, we're just probably more consistent and had outright race pace. Just didn't quite get the quality results we wanted. So yeah, we'll regroup. We've got New Zealand in a few weeks. Come down, have some fun at the Phillip Island Historics, and get to drive the Penrite E63 is pretty cool.
So you're behind the wheel of the E63 AMG supercar this weekend. How does that differ from the Gen 3 Mustang that you're normally used to?
Yeah, it's very different. It's 10 years younger. 10 years older than the Gen 3. So still learning a little bit, but it's the same. It's it's supercar, has a sequential gearbox, just a little bit different. And even those cars alone from the other cars that we see, the VF that raced against it, it is quite a different car. Mercedes and Aerox did a pretty good job of making it quite unique. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Sounds different, steering wheels all different, the interior's quite unusual, but a lot of fun to drive. So yeah, massive thank you to the whole Diamond family and the Penrite family for letting me jump in the car this weekend, get to show it to all the fans, and yeah, sounds great, looks great. So go check it out. It's in the paddock and come get a photo with it.
The 5-litre HWA power plant underneath the bonnet of the Merc, that sound lives rent-free in my brain. What's it like when you're in the flesh?
Yeah, it's really good. It's actually a lot smoother and quieter in the car than I thought. The Gen 3s now, they're quite loud inside the cabin, so yeah, it's a bit of a joy to drive, to be honest. It's quite smooth, loud, sounds nice, feels nice to drive. So yeah, I have an absolute ball out there. Get to race with these guys. It's very cool cars that I sort of watched these cars growing up. So getting to see them out on the track in action is quite cool, and to get to drive the Mercedes that I watched when I think it was my second year of go-karting when that thing was racing. So very cool to see that. Absolutely enjoying this event, and how good's the weather? It's absolutely great too.
There's a lot of people here as well. Massive crowds lining up since before 7 this morning, and they're almost like 5 deep at the fences in terms of cars and people, so it's fantastic. But speaking of a lot of cars, we've got quite a few here with Eggleston Motorsport. You've been involved in this operation here this weekend, but could you just tell us some of the details of some of the special form of V8 supercars we've got here competing in the 5-litre touring car category?
Yeah, it's really cool. Obviously, Ben and H do a great job. I've been with them since Super 3 when I was 16, so obviously moved to Penrite and Grove Racing, but still spent a lot of time with them. So great to get here down this weekend. Obviously did my Super 2 stuff for them, but yeah, we've got some really cool cars. Obviously got Garth Dander's VF here, which Ben's driving. It's his own personal car. Hughes in the Jamie Whincup VF as well, similar time here. So there's some really cool cars that have done very good things in the supercar category. And there's also some older stuff, as we got, Dave's driving the Longhurst Falcon here, which is getting to see some vision of that thing of the GoPro inside the car. It's quite a cool car, and it moves around a bit. It looks like it's actually, for how old it is, it handles really well. So yeah, Eggleston's do a great job of bringing all these cars back to life after they're retired from supercars and putting in pristine condition, and even just a great fun weekend. They definitely know how to put on a show, and I always love when I get the opportunity to come join Ben and H. I'm always there in a heartbeat.
Now, before we let you go, obviously you're still relatively new in your supercars full-time career, but just participating in weekends like this, the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic, do you feel like that authentic connection you have with motorsport helps you in your journey in development and becoming a better driver in the future? Yeah,
100%. Any time I can get in a car is always beneficial. So no matter what it is, this weekend getting to drive still a supercar, you're on a good tyre, good brakes, so you're always just keeping yourself sharp. We don't get to do a lot of driving these days. Testing is limited in our category, so it's not like the AFL guys where they get to go out, kick the footy every day. We're a bit limited. We only have 2 weeks off, and then we jump back into the next race. So yeah, whenever I get my butt in a seat, I'm always all for it, no matter what it is. And I just enjoy driving. It's such a cool thing, and I'm very take it for granted how cool my job is and what I get to do. So yeah, getting these opportunities is very special, and I'm sure I'm making little 8-year-old Kai pretty happy right now, which is great.
Kai Allen, thank you.
All right, thanks guys.
Some people, they just don't get it. They don't get the thrill of spotting a one-of-a-kind. They don't get the joy of a Sunday drive. But at Shannons, we get it because we get what matters to car people. That's why we offer Choice of Repairer, because we get it's important who works on your vehicle. Driven by passion, backed by experience. Chat to Shannons, Australia's original insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 or jump online. Shannons, share the passion.
Here on Victoria's Phillip Island, the question isn't where do you start, but why does it have to end? 101 square kilometres of amazing is waiting.
Well, I reckon we've got 4.53 amazing kilometres of Phillip Island right below us here at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. Thanks for joining us for the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic, the 37th running of this amazing event, brought to you by the VHRR to its friends, or the Victorian Historic Racing Register. Year after year, roll out the good stuff at this particular event. A bloke that's been on a long ride with the VHRR and continues here this weekend with Formula Ford, a guy that raced these cars, is Bob Morrow. Bob, welcome to the Formula Ford Race 1 for the weekend.
Thank you, Darren. And as we say, look forward to the fast and furious Formula Fords, because you can guarantee there will be a great race, if not for first, then maybe third or fourth. But there's always dices going on with Formula Ford.
Sometimes it's the World Championship for 33rd, isn't it, in Formula Fords? They draft, they stream, they race hard. And, I don't even have to hark back that far. It was a couple of weeks ago at Sandown with the first round of the Victorian Trophy Tour and the Formula Fords, the stars of the future. This field is not exactly the stars of the future. In fact, when we look at these names, these are stars of Formula Ford from maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago that are still doing the game. Let's have a look at this field. And I've just made a couple of quick notes here for all those at home. And if you're not in an RF89, which is a Van Diemen, you're sort of not in the top few rows here. Alex Davison will be out of pole position with Brock Brewer out of WA. So a very big welcome to Phillip Island of Brock Brewer, also in an RF89. John Miles also in the RF89. Thomas Hamlet, same sort of car. Andy McGuinness, great to see Andy out there. Fifth is not his happy hunting ground. He's a top three kind of guy. Anthony Mann is the one that we have to go to, because he's not in an RF89, but he is in an RF86. So the Ralph Berman Van Diemens feature very strongly in that era of racing and continue to do so in historic. The first of the non-Van Diemens is Grant Walker in his Swift. Jared Hurst, then Glenn Woodford. Antonio Capizio, or Tony, great to see him down there. A young Penrite racer, has been driving the Clubman for a couple of years, works full-time in a race team, is out of position number 11. Out of 12 is Bruce Connolly, Gary Watson, then Neil Richardson, Malcolm Osler doing double duties here this weekend. He's in car number 24 and is also racing a Formula 2 here this weekend. He's in a Lola T642, a car of great interest.
Which I must add, Darren, is the first of the FB cars.
It is.
All the rest of them in front of the FC. He's the first of the FB.
So we go all the way down to Connolly with the FCs, and then, as we mentioned, the first of the FBs, which is an era designation to the Formula Ford. John Gregg to Bo Johnson, Eric Bellamy, Wayne Collerville, then Andy Newell in position number 22. John Van Leeuwen.
Andy Newell all the way from the UK.
He is, and John Van Leeuwen all the way from WA. So
there you go.
Some people going the distance to come racing here this weekend, aren't they? Craig DeGattari, a New South Wales racer. Elwyn Bickley, also from New South Wales. Phil Marinon, a guy that has worked very, very hard over a long period of time in the Formula Ford ranks. Matt Scott, Mitchell Rogers, Ben Rawson, Tom Foley out of Queensland, Don Boyack from Perth as well, Chris Connor, John Baker, Daniel Gate from Western Australia, and Kynan Taylor rounding out, which is a 33-car field, a ripping field of cars, and as Bob touched on, full of FCs, FAs and FBs,
Yes,
which are the era designation.
All historic racing is broken up into the time they were built. So FA, the first one's up to 1973. FB are up to 80, and 78, and FC, the modern ones, they're up to 83. And there's no real difference between A and B, but you can see from the FC cars, they're much more streamlined, they're much more inboard suspension, same motor. All these cars run exactly the same engine. They have to. That's the rules.
That car with the sand and signage down the side there, that was the one that changed things. The RF86 was absolutely revolutionary in the Formula Ford world, and none other than the cool drive man himself, John Blanchard, made a very big name for himself amongst those rigs back in the day, and the RF86 really did change things. The outboard suspension became rocker arm suspension inboard underneath the aero package there, and it's not often you'd see one down the back, but when you've got about 20 of the 33 cars being RFs, they are very, very tidy indeed. We get away nicely. Great clutch take up of our front row there with Davison and Brock Brewer, the Western Australian, getting away very, very nicely indeed. Everyone clears the grid, and we go streaming down into turn one. Alex Davison from the famous Davison family leads the way down into turn number one in his RF89. And just looking nice and wide there. They all start to bottle up a bit. Will Faulkner going right wide in the 95 there. And it's one of the older cars, the Lola, actually coming right round the outside there with fantastic grip wide. And just showing a couple of those Van Dievens a clean set of heels as they head down into turn three.
Yes, well, as you said, Davison from the Davison family. Brewer all the way from WA, and running 3 wide around some of these corners, which is quite common in Formula 4.
Neil Richardson's had a ripper start in the 41. He's got himself well up inside the top 7 there as well. There's the 95 of Will Faulkner, another good start. But the white car in that almost Martini liveried car, that's the one I'm talking about with Neil Richardson starting out of 14th. The South Australian has had a ripping run at the first 4 corners. Just trying to pick up who's in that green car there, just off the side of shot. Can't quite pick up the number on that one. I think it's 127, Gary Watson from New South Wales. That's had a very, very good start. Started out of 13, and Gary is actually up to 11th already and doing a tremendous job there. He's in the Moore Formula Ford, a local outfit, and doing very, very well in the FC car up against some of these. FA car up against some of these FC specified cars.
Yes, when Formula Ford came to Australia, it had to be made in Australia. So we have a lot of those Australian cars. Some of them only made 1 or 2, but that one's fairly well up. And we've got Glenn Woodford leading the FV cars.
At the celebration of the 50 years of Formula Ford, it was great to hear from the likes of Wally Story, who has had a long-time competition and engineering role in Australia, but his competition career was in a Formula Ford. And I believe Wally's here with us this weekend doing something in the pits. I'm not sure. He'd be probably turning spanners or pointing fingers at things and telling others to turn spanners on them or something like that. Ostler now starting out of the mid-pack up to 12th there. So Malcolm started out of 15th. He's made a couple of good spots as the field stream their way through. There's no other way to describe it, is there, Bob? They stream their way around.
And they're having a ball, an absolute ball. Some of the back runners wouldn't know or care who won. They're just having a ball up like these three.
Well, these guys are fighting it out for near enough to the top of the pack. Miles, Hamlet and McGuinness. And just trying to pick up the green liveried car there. That's the 33. That's of Hamlet. He started out of position number 4, the Western Australian. And that is the RF89 as well. There's Andy McGuinness. Now, Andy's got a couple of open wheels in his shed. He's got a magnificent Brabham as well. But he has certainly found that the Formula Ford competition over the last couple of seasons at these Victorian historic racing register events, being here at Phillip Island, Winton Festival of Speed and historic Sandown, have been just immense races. Last year he raced Nick McBride, Andrew Reid and John Miles, Alex Davison, Declan Fu, Jared Hurst, all these names massive. Even John Blanchard himself there finished 8th in car number 21 at this actual race. So race 1 for the weekend in Formula Fords at this event last year.
Yes, and leading the Class C, A, is Digatari just in front of Matt Scott. There's only half a second between those two.
Getting a good side-on shot of the cars as they come out of Siberia. And that magnificent Bass Strait in the background there. You can't ask for a better backdrop to go watching race cars on. Don't get caught gazing off into the ocean, though. You'll miss all the action with the Formula Fords.
It's an absolute sin that the MotoGP is left here because, as you say, all the drivers love the circuit. It's fantastic on television.
It does. I'm not sure that the argument has any weight anymore, Bob, but it's going to a street track, which absolutely bamboozles me after this particular facility. This is some good racing here. Andy McGuinness is ranging up onto the 33 now of Thomas Hamlet. And Andy's got a fair bit of local knowledge over this Western Australian, so he'll know that he can sit there for a little while. I'm not going to say more than 2 laps, Andy. You probably want to be hatching your plan about now. 2 minutes and 50 seconds remain on the time certain clock for these guys. So definitely time is ticking.
And the thing is, Darren, they don't know. Well, they know time's ticking, but they don't know how much is left because they haven't got radio.
No, not allowed to.
No, they're banned.
Not allowed to. They may have a stopwatch velcroed to the middle of their steering wheel with an elapsed time on it, but certainly there's pit boards. They're allowed pit boards, but there's not a lot of pit boards being shown either out there today. But it's a short, sharp race. It's out over 13 minutes, so you've got to make every corner a winner in these type of sprint races.
And sometimes, like the Formula Vee, it may not be good to be leading on the last lap when there's a car right behind you because of the slipstreaming. So that's going to be a good thing to look on the last lap.
That could
then again,
be,
as we just said, they don't know it's the last.
That could be some local knowledge there as well. As I was saying, Andy McGuinness has done, he's won a groove in this racetrack. The Western Australian Thomas Hamlet and Brock Brewer, they won't know that. They just, well, at the moment, Brock Brewer doesn't have a problem in the world. He's 0.9 of a second behind Alex Davison. And I'm pretty sure he'd be very happy to finish the race exactly where he started and start tomorrow morning's race right next to Davison again.
Yes, with a little bit more knowledge.
Yep, and gathering it all by the minute. Shot here, straight over the nose cone of Andy Newell in the 63, the Victorian racer. And a lot of these races with the Victorian Historic Racing Register program have had support thrown to them by the VHRR. Young Tom Reed in the Regularity has been working very, very hard in Regularity and has come to the notice of the Davidsons as well, and is part of the Australia Curie outfit. And looking down the straight there's a good shot actually of a couple of different eras of the cars that Bob touched on there, with an FC car and an FB car just running into turn 2. And that'll be the Lola in there.
Lola, of course, built a whole range of cars from Formula One down.
Well, and sort of very much in the same era that Alpha did, although Alpha didn't do a Formula One, but they certainly did a lot of good Formula 5000s and sports cars. And as you touched on as well in opening remarks, Bob, the Alphans were immense in local competition for many, many years. And, even from your background with the Clubman and Formula Ford and that sort of thing, they were a humble little garage in South Australia, and I remember fondly when the Castrol Classic started, which was the early iterations of this event, staying with Lorraine Cooper and Stewie Costera in Cows, and just having, I didn't realise the gem that we were staying with Lorraine Cooper at the time, but certainly Elfin, this category was something that Elfin stamped their authority on for some time.
Certainly did, and it was made by Cooper, and he couldn't call them Coopers.
No.
So he had to call them something.
No, Jack Rapp was driving them in Europe at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah,
this is the Lola we're talking about here with Malcolm Osler, the yellow car here, with the open front, the snout on the front there to direct air through to the radiators, and we've got the RF 89 just coming into the back of that shot there, where the radiators were mounted down the side of the car. And you can see that is one of those things when they bought the suspension inboard, they had to make the bodywork a whole lot sleeker to get through the air. The 72 there, the mobile down the side, that's Anthony Mann. And just wondering how the number 26 of Antonio Cafiso is going there as well. Haven't quite seen where he's been. But we're getting good shots now of Hurst, Walker and Mann.
Well, I do know it's the last lap because they're hanging out the last lap board.
They are, for sure. Off down at turn 4. And I saw John Mann floating around down there, a guy who raced a Mustang for a long time in historic motorsport, and this is the next iteration of the Mann racing family. You've got to say, Bob, that's nice to see a chain of lineage with the Mann family.
Yes, exactly. There's quite a bit of that in Formula 4.
It's quite a bit of that around historic
Yes,
motorsport.
you're right.
It's a very much a family-friendly, family-orientated form of competition. The competition on track is absolutely immense. There's no doubt about that. As we see the checkered flag coming out now, and it has gone to Alex Davison, Rock Brewer, the Western Australian home next. Then it's Miles to Thomas Hamlet. Andy McGuinness held on to his 5th starting place to finish 5th there as well.
By 2/100ths of a second.
Amazing competition. Age shall not weary them, and that is very true with Formula 4 racing. Will Faulkner, Jared Hurst, Connolly, Watson, Richardson, Gate, Woodford over the line. Malcolm Osler getting home there in 13th place. Phil Marinon just outside the 30. And John Blanchard in the mix there as well. John Van Leeuwen, another one of the Western Australians in the number 60. He got home there in 23rd place there as well, with a couple of Bellamy's just in front of him as well. So short, sharp affair for Formula Ford, but Davison, a name we know all too well across the top of the finishers board. Brewer, Miles and Hamlet round out that top 4. There goes Andy McGuinness in the number 2. Is our results board.
And if you watch, you'll find the first of the Formula C cars beat the first of the Formula B cars. Sorry, the other way around. First of the
confirmation. Davison, Brewer, Miles, Hamlet, McGuinness, Walker, Faulkner, Hurst, Connolly and Watson in the top 10. We're going to go to Callum Brannigan down in the pit paddock area.
Made our way over the bridge, and we're on the other side of the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit, where you can see us right in front of the Penrite stand. Now, Sandra, you're an ambassador of Penrite, but 100 years, a centenary of an Australian proudly owned operation. So many years in Australia, but by yourself, before you even became an ambassador, Penrite was the choice for you, wasn't it?
Absolutely. My family have always used Penrite on all of our cars, and these guys are everywhere this year. They are even sponsoring the Melbourne Football Club. They are literally everywhere. So many different places. We've seen them at Supercars. They won Bathurst last year. So It has been a huge year for these guys.
And we actually got that car on display here this weekend, the car of Matt Payne, the shed with Gartander. I think I might have seen Gartander walking through the paddock as well earlier this weekend. So Plenty of stars, plenty of people here, but just have a look at the cars. Like, have a go at this R34 V-Spec GTR. It does have a for sale sticker on the side of it if anyone's interested in purchasing a bona fide Nissan JDM Hero. But look how gorgeous that car is, resplendent sitting in the sun here this weekend, isn't it, Sandra?
There is an amazing range of cars here, whether you're into your Falcons, your Holdens, your Mustangs. You know, whatever you're into, there's something here. And there is a few for sale. So, you know, if you feel like spending some money, take a look around.
What do you got your eyes on here this weekend? Obviously, you're a bit of a hot rod person. You're part of that scene. But any of these cars take your fancy?
There needs to be some more hot rods here. I need to bring mine down. I do love the GT40 that I've seen out there before because my dad does own one as well. So I did get some nice photos of that out there before. But I'm learning a lot. I've seen that McLaren, that beautiful McLaren that took our mayor out this morning. Oh, my God. Yeah. Amazing.
Absolutely incredible. And you can see here the iconic look and admire, but please don't touch cards sitting here on the little Lotus 7 next to, I suspect it's an Alan Moffat replica Mustang Fastback Boss 302, looking absolutely beautiful. And the team at Shannons doing an incredible job to curate the list of cars, the lineup of cars that you've got in front of the Super Rig, which I was actually told by a little birdie earlier this weekend at the Super Rig. This event, about more than 20 years ago, was actually the event where it made its debut in the hands of Nick Hassapis, who was the driver of the rig for so many years. He was, of course, the person that lived in the rig, literally drove it around Australia, was such a popular figure within the Australian motoring scene. But obviously Shannons share the passion. You can see Daryl up there, up on the stage there next to the simulators, and Daryl's actually the current rig driver as well from South Australia, but does a fantastic job driving the Super Rig all around Australia.
What a job. What an amazing job. And we've all enjoyed the Super Rig, and I am proudly insured with Shannons myself. These guys do an incredible job. I cannot speak highly enough of them when I've had to make claims with my car. They are amazing.
So without further ado, that's a bit of a quick walk up and down pit, the other side of the pit paddock. If we get Jason, our very capable camera operator, to have a look up that side, you can just see the sheer number of cars and people here this weekend. There are so many people here on Saturday. And don't forget, we've got another day of racing action coming your way tomorrow. But you can probably hear the under 2 litre Group N historic touring cars making their way out onto the circuit. So without further ado, we'll throw to the next segment.
Thanks very much, Callum, and great to see Penrite and Shannon's names very much synonymous with the Victorian Historic Racing Register in this particular event. I'm Darren Smith, right alongside, not to be confused, in same height, same stature, a little bit more angry than me, is Darren Knight. Daz, big smile on your face, mate. We're about to go under 2 litre touring car racing, something both you and I like to do.
Thought you were going to say I was a bit more follically challenged.
You are that too, but you've got a beard and I don't.
Vertically. Yeah, that's all right. Junior.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Back for the second race for historic touring cars. Now, this is the first race for under 2 litre historic touring cars. So a massive grid of Group N historic touring cars this weekend. And welcome aboard to Racer Industries, who are now the category sponsors for historic touring cars in Victoria. So plenty of Cortinas, plenty of Minis, a few Datsun 1600s out there, a very pretty Alpha with Adrian Demura behind the wheel. So David Brown, pole position, no surprise, very quick car, the Datsun 1600. Conor Onofaro, all the way from WA in the Mini. Blake Watson, another Mini from WA. Demuro in the Alpha, fourth in the Blue Machine number 71. Then it's Paul Onofaro, another Mini from WA alongside Richard Hill. The first of the Victorian Minis out of grid 6. Then it's Sean Ralph in 18. Vic Draper, another Datsun 1600. Jim Schilling in the Volvo. He'll start out of 9 alongside Jeffrey Hulbert in the Mini number 44.
Great to see the Stupka Citroen in this field there as well, just making the way around off the tail end of this field. Very, very cool indeed to see such a mix of cars taking it up to us in the historic touring cars race number 1 for the under 2 litre cars. Good fun event right here at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. A big thanks to Apex Steel for supporting this particular race out throughout this weekend. In 24th, of course, Stephen Rosenberg rounding out our entire field. Very, very strong field of under 2 litre cars, which is always very cool to see. Stephen Rosenberg, of course, the Cortina rounding out the back of this field. Now, Darren, some really interesting marks now starting to come into this. A Datsun 1600, a couple of Minis. Now, Mini Cooper S is a staple for this sort of racing, as are Cortinas. But even an Alpha 105, a couple of different cars that we have.
2 Volvos.
Yeah, a Citroen of all things. But, there's certainly some great mix as we see this field coming down for their rolling start. And the field just a little bit lagging behind there. But we get underway, and it's going to be David Brown in that Datsun 1600. Charges down into turn number 1. Challenge on either side by the Minis, and they will be sucking the air out of the window of his Datsun as he just streams on through. But the 22 of Conor Donfario gets through there as well. Blake Watson, Adrian Demura as well. Look at that magnificent number 71 of Adrian Demura, the Alfa Romeo. There's a very long-time senior clerk, of course, watching on this coverage here this weekend. So a big shout-out. Some might call him Ken Smith, I call him Dad. Having a good weekend watching the historic touring cars, really enjoying himself. Had an Alpha back in the year or two.
Indeed, and speaking of Alphas, Demuro now up into second place, went from third into second at Jack Miller corner. So Demuro from fourth to second in a matter of metres there, Darren.
You can see the Alpha Car Club guys from here going absolutely crazy.
The old fisty.
Yeah, that's right, just giving it to it as you go through. The black wheels on the blue there, hardly a traditional, I guess it's the famous Italian Azzurra, as they call it.
Yep.
But certainly the Alpha Car Club guys, which have got a good presence here this weekend, they'll be watching this very, very closely. Could be in for a win, but I think David Brown, at the moment, looks like he's got it covered. The interesting thing here is that Brown is number 73, and Demura 71. So a couple of numbers very close to each other in first and second in this. The first of the races for Apex Steel and the under 2 litre historic touring cars.
David Brown, of course, the man from Brown Davis Automotive, who have built many extremely safe roll cages over the years. A no mean punter himself, David Brown, at the wheel of this Datsun 1600, one of the fastest 4-cylinder cars in Group N in the country. The Minis behind him, though, really starting to punch on in that battle for third, fourth and fifth as Demuro starts to look up the inside of Brown into turn 1, Alpha versus Datsun, and Demuro gets the lead of the race from David Brown.
Wow, have a look at that. The Alfa Romeo fans have just lost their espressos all over the front of their racing jackets. And away they go. The Serpent on the shield is now just driving away in car number 71. And this is a great snapshot of under 2 litre racing, isn't it? Alpha out of Italy, a Datsun out of Japan, a Mini out of the UK.
And we did assemble them here, of course, BMC in
absolutely.
Australia in the 60s.
Yep, certainly did. And then a Volvo. So, bringing Sweden into the game now as well. So, a world game. And interestingly enough, with David Brown's success over the last few years, there's quite a few of these Datsuns floating around. And who didn't have a go at a Datsun when they were about 18 years of age as their first car?
Stuart Brown from South Australia in the Cortina GT, making a move there on the Cooper S of Chris Finlayson from Victoria. Does a great job, the social media stuff for the Historic Touring Car Association of Victoria. Rob Effrath in that beautiful blue 2-door Cortina with the white stripes from South Australia, and a newcomer to the category. He has his hands full there as they head up towards past where the hay shed used to be. We can't call it hay shed anymore, can we, Darren?
Well, we can. It's still a hay shed.
Well, exactly.
Yeah. It's historic racing, so historically it was referred to as hay shed. I call turn 12 Belinda's Terrace. I'm not going to go explaining what it means. That's what I call it.
I have to do that off air, I think.
No, we just do it on there. We all know a Belinda, and some of them live on a terrace, so there's a meaning in that.
Max McKay, the young Queenslander, in the number 38, so young Victorian, I beg your pardon, the red Cooper S number 38 with the white roof. Here's this battle between the South Australians, Barnes and Effcraft. Isn't it amazing? You travel all these miles to race, and you end up racing against the same bloke you do back at your home track.
Every other
exactly,
weekend.
Not you again.
Now, you know a bit about these particular cars. The 22 has got an extra chrome strip across the front of the grille. Is that significant in any way? Or is it just chrome and the other one's painted black?
Yeah, pretty much just chrome. Of course, we have the GT, the 240, the 220, the 2-door, the 440.
the Cortinas.
I remember there was a whole episode of Top Gear where they went through all the Cortinas.
It probably was. Finlayson gets past F. Grave there, so now a mini between the two Cortinas with Terry Green in the white and blue Cortina behind F. Graf at the moment. Again, another relative newcomer to the category. So Stuart Barnes there. That's a car originally raced by our own Steve Tate down here in Victoria many, many moons ago. Barnes has had the car for quite a while and is extremely rapid at his home track of Malala.
Doesn't Steve Tate have one of the ex-Coca-Cola supercars in his shed now?
He does.
Or is that just a vicious rumour that someone started?
Well, he's a bit of a car collector, Steve. Of course, as with a name like Tate, a heritage of Tate, there was never going to be any other way, was there?
No, that's true. That is true.
Just coming into shot now, the beautiful orange little Datsun 1200 fastback of Rowan Pinder. A car I'm pretty sure it's making its first appearance here at the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic. There he is now on screen, just behind the Tony Green Cortina. What a absolutely gorgeous shape is the little 1200. A car that raced at Bathurst back in the day, of course, in the smaller titular categories, if you like. And he's doing a great job there behind Green.
I guess the likes of Bill Evans and those guys were certainly...
James Lane Peach.
Yeah, yep.
John Roxburgh.
Damer, John Roxburgh.
Yep.
Yeah, of course, all in works cars too.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of Japanese factory effort in the early days of series production touring car racing at the Mount. We had Datsun Bluebirds running around as early as 1964, but they all broke wheels, so I don't think anyone's going to be rushing to put one of them onto the track anytime soon.
Two-door Datsun 1200 coupe, quite the weapon in the hill climbing world as well. They've been used in that genre of motorsport very well for a long period of time. A great wheel base and an aero shape of sorts.
Very light too, of course. Fairly
and that's what
steel.
These cars on screen now, the Cooper S's, did for so long. It just, as a kid, just loved Ted Brewster, and Ted's still with us and going to the races and stuff. But his green and yellow liveried Mini was just something that I loved watching. And in the wet against John Mann at Winton, the Mini was more likely to get the chocolates than the Mustang was.
Teddy, of course, many great drives down here. Phillip Island, the original Phillip Island track back in the 60s.
Certainly was, and some said that he ran that Pike livery on the car, the yellow and green and white.
Vic Draper in the blue and white Datsun 1600. He's there having a pretty good squabble there with Holbert. In the number 44, the Battleship Grey Cooper S. They head up towards Lukey Heights once again. Trying to track down that Volvo of Sean Rell from South Australia. The 140, the 142, the two-door. Extremely robust engine under the bonnet of that Volvo. They're very popular in rallying over the years, of course, where reliability you really need it out in the forest in the middle of the night.
And, of course, the bounce plates on the back to get them through the mud. I guess it's not this era, but certainly John Bowe and Robbie Francevic set the Australian touring car scene alight with
the body shape's
turbos.
pretty similar, wasn't it? The old 242
boxy,
turbo.
They're safe.
Boxy but good.
Yeah, that's right. Boxy but fast and safe. But don't take anything away from Volvo. Of course, Gary Rogers, many years on from that, managed to convince the Swedes that supercars was a good place to be, and those cars were rapid and launched Scotty McLaughlin's career, that's for sure.
Give it a bit of jandle. Did the trick.
He did.
Jamiro continues to lead from Brown and the Onofaro boys running in third and fourth. So Cono in third. Paul Onofaro, his son, in fourth. This is the battle with Barnes in 12th, just in front of David Cheney in the Cooper S. Then Pinder in that lovely little Datsun 1200 coupe in front of Rob F. Grave.
Which, of course, the 1200 coupe morphed into the 120Y.
Not looked upon quite as fondly as the 1200, no. I don't think, the 120Y.
They're a little bit more awkward, I think.
Yeah, awkward's a polite way of saying the styling of that car, but I'm sure there's a few fans out there.
Tough car to get pace out of and keep it on its four wheels.
Who was it that ran one in sports sedans with a ridiculous engine under the bonnet many moons ago?
There was a couple that gave that a go.
Barnes leads in the battle for 12th.
It's good shots here. And the under 2 litre guys, fantastic actually, Darren. The BHRR have been able to gather that many historic touring cars that they've been able to give the historic touring cars the under 2 litre touring cars their own race. And I guess when you bring 26 of them to the track and there's a great field of overs, then you get your own race. And this is just I got to say, this is a vote from the Group N races that they love this event and they love this track.
They certainly do. It really is the highlight of the year for most of the competitors running on this beautiful flowing race circuit. We really don't know how lucky we are to have a race circuit like this in Victoria. Off F. Grave, his first visit to Phillip Island, number 27, Blue Cortina. Pinder now trying to put the move on Finlayson as they come onto the front straight here on this last lap for race 1 for the under 2 litre Group N historic touring cars, brought to us by Apex Steel. Apex Steel, of course, owned by Joe Collegia, a Group N racer himself. He has a very fast 69 fastback Mustang.
Orange and black Mustang. He's also down here racing in Group S in his very fast red Corvette. So big thanks there. Of course, Dana Precision also involved with these under 2 litre guys here this weekend. Yellow flags being waved at turn 1. Not sure what that's all about, but we're not really seeing any dust up or cars around the track. But certainly at turn 1, a yellow flag, which to me is always a bit of a warning, because you come down there so fast that you need to have lots of good warning to be able to get through there.
Adrian DeMuro heading towards victory in race 1 for the under 2 litre historic touring cars, brought to us by Apex Steel, Dana Precision and Racer Industries. So 1 for the L50. DeMuro takes the win from David Brown in the Datsun 1600. Almost caught at the line by Conno Onofaro in the diminutive Mini. So great drive from the West Australian in that bright yellow Cooper S into 3rd place in front of son Paul. So the Sandgropers 3rd and 4th. Richard Hill with the first of the Victorian Minis in 5th place.
The guy who does a fair bit of racing across Victoria, does a bit of the Trophy Tour Vic racing as well, the State Series stuff. Of course, Trophy Tour Vic is at Calder next weekend, being accompanied by a massive rock concert in the Thunderdome. Good one for you to get along to, Daz.
Millsy doing Bon Jovi,
yeah.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
I wish he was doing Guns N' Roses, but anyway. Vic Draper crosses the line in 6th in the Datsun 1600. Sean Ralph, the Volvo, 7th. Jeffrey Holbert will be 8th in the Cooper S. Derek McLaughlin, 9th in the 3rd of the Datsun 1600. So 3 Dattos in the top 9, Daz.
There you go. Bit of a changing of the guard there. What's going on with the Lotus Cortinas?
None here.
None.
Makes it hard.
That's what I mean. What's going on with it?
That's right. Good point.
Yeah.
That battle went right to the end between Barnes, Finlayson, F. Grave there, and Pinder.
So Rowan Pinder in the 1200 there ended up in 14th. Great shot this one, isn't it? The VHR speed cam on the straight there with a looks like a 9/16 bolt, just giving us our bearings.
You are an engineer, not a commentator.
I knew one.
Knew one.
I knew one once. There we go. Provisional results. Cool Drive Auto Parts on the results board. Adrian DeMuro, David Brown, motored home in 2nd place. Conno D'Onofrio, Paul D'Onofrio, Richard Hill, Vic Draper, Sean Ralph, Jeff Hull, Derek McLaughlin and Max Kay getting home in 10th place there as well.
2 more races for the Racer Industries Cool Drive under 2 litre historic touring cars tomorrow. Make sure you are trackside or tuning in to Glenline TV. The under 2 litres will be out there tomorrow morning at around 11:45 a.m. and then they'll have their final race at around 10 to 4 tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you very much, Darren Knight. Now let's go down to, as promised, an interview with Eddie Irvine.
Welcome back to the 2026 Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic. Absolutely happy to be here in baking sunshine. And Eddie Irvine, you've made your way down to Phillip Island to this extremely wonderful event. There's such a high calibre of racing vehicles, all significant. It's incredible to have them here, but also yourself, mate. You're a Formula One racing legend. What are you doing here?
I love all these old cars. This is the cars that I watched when I was growing up. And I love Australia. I went to Adelaide for that historic event, which was a bit of a shame when the weather was so bad. I've been here now, I think it's my third year here at this. We went to Sydney in between, so riding around on the ferries, there's nothing not to love about Australia.
Mate, you've got quite a lot of sunscreen on at the moment as well, so the UV level's quite high. You've been very
Irish.
smart.
I'm Irish. We don't, my Irish skin and the sun are not friends.
I would argue a better UV blocker is putting on a helmet. When are we going to see you behind the wheel of one of these cars here at Phillip Island?
That's why I wear the sun cream. It's safer. No, I have no interest in driving. I drove, I enjoyed it. I fly planes now. And that's as much excitement as I need. I love these old cars, but I don't trust them.
No, look, thank you so much for taking the time. I know we've just door-stopped you here to have a chat with us on Blendline TV, but thank you so much for coming to the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What started with a 16-year-old's dream in St Kilda 1926 became one family's legacy.
Car 100, the Penrite guys are going to go completely berserk.
Inspiring all Australians on two wheels, four wheels and big wheels. Under the ground, on the ground, and soaring high above it.
It's been one heck of a journey, but it's not over yet.
Penrite Oil, celebrating 100 years, still driven.
Welcome back trackside here at the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic Formula 5000 cars lining themselves up in the pit lane here and starting to motor out. Darren Smith with Phil Memory right alongside me for this one, and I've got to say, Phil, there's a large proportion of people out there in fanland that have come to see these cars rock, haven't they?
Oh yeah. These are just big bang, thump, bang, wallop, and
they tried recently to replicate this. Sadly, it didn't work.
The
S5000,
it was
nice and it was
great.
romantic,
Yep.
but it wasn't this. And this is something we just have to preserve and remember and enjoy for what it is. And I got to say, this is my childhood in the Ginzano bus of Jansen down at turn 1 at Sandown, probably amongst things I shouldn't have seen as a 10-year-old. But watching the heat haze come up off the sports sedans, not the sports sedans, of the Formula 5000s I said sports sedans because Dean Cam's out there and he's a
Yep.
Corvette racer in
Yep.
the sports sedans. But certainly Formula 5000 is what got this young race fan absolutely hooked, waiting for Dad to finish. So the grid out, cars heading out on track now. This is where we are in the landscape, smack bang right on the edge of Bass Strait here at Phillip Island. Cows is a couple of kilometres away as the bird flies. 12 corners make up this layout, and it is the most magnificent layout of a racetrack you will find. I was talking to someone that's done a lot of racing in Europe over the last year or so, and this is in his top 3 behind Spa and behind the Nürburgring long track. So there it is, doing corner turn 1, turn 2, down there at Southern Loop, an amazing corner. It just keeps going and going and going, and then cambers off and throws you down into turn number 3. Stoner corner as we come up to turn 4. Villa corner as well. We're probably going to have to lose some of these references to motorbikes as the MotoGP disappears over to SA. It's where the racing cars should be. I'm just not sure about the motorbikes. But turn 8 across Lukey Heights. The plunge down, a big break into MG corner. And we still call it that because no one's come up with a better name.
Yep, the old turn 10, great corner. And a really interesting way that you come out of that. A lot of the cars you find short shift as they come out of the old MG corner and head around that left-hander.
4.45 kilometres the distance, outright lap record of 124. Tim Slade in the Brabham BT62. I was lucky enough with Callum Brannigan to call that lap when he did that, believe it or not, in an MG and invited British cars race. So I guess the Brabham was British, wasn't it? So it went out and Tim Slade absolutely brained them. It was great to be on this particular property on that particular day. Formula 5000's out there. We've gone through the grid. I'm just going to reiterate. It'll be William Sala to Lachlan Thomas, Darcy Russell, Dean Cam, a couple of old racing heads on the second row there with Darcy Russell and Dean Cam. Rodney Carroll to Jeff Walters. Bill Hemming, great to see the number 11 out there, the Elfin of Bill. David Smoker. Then we go back to Matt Beal, Dave Crabtree, Robert Splatt and Grant Perryman. 12 cars. And let me tell you, back in the day, it was only ever 12 or 13 cars anyway. It was romantic. It was great. We loved it. But it wasn't 20 cars or 30 cars. It was 12 to 15 cars. And that's what happened.
If you got more than that, it was really special.
Yeah, maybe in the Tasman series, there was James Hunt came out and drove the Elfin and the Rose City Classic. That
Correct.
sort of thing. There was a few more cars, but this
of course,
is how many made it.
There is the Mildren Formula 5000 out there. Now, that's a fairly famous car. The last time I saw that competing was actually Malcolm Osler driving it at Sandown. So, and before that, back in the day, who didn't drive it? It was that Mildren team was really, really good. They had all sorts of cars, not just the Formula 5000. They had Alphas and all sorts of things. Really good stuff. So we've got a Lola, a Matic, a Mildren, a Lola, another Lola, an Elfin, a March, a Beg FM2. So Lachlan Thomas from Tasmania, I think, yes, has come across the ditch from Tassie. Good to see that Lachlan has made the trip across. Really, really good to see these cars coming around. Of course, they get an extra lap of warming up. These cars do take a little while to get warm up, Darren, and we certainly don't want to see them running down into turn 1 on cold tyres.
I tell you what, if you're a koala on Phillip Island and you're on this side of the island, get on the other side of the tree because you're about to get shaken out of the tree as the Formula 5000s come thumping down the main straight here at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. They're going to do it for about the next 8 minutes or so. Cast your eyes to the top of the straight. We're looking right on car number 1, the Matic. What a car, what a story built up behind that car. The one behind it is a Lola. That is the kind of chassis that drag people to the track. And away we go. The Matic gets away nicely. Darcy Russell and Dean Cam go side by side with each other across the start line. Cam looks to the inside. Just says, Darcy, I've got this one. I'll look after it. I'll take care down into turn number 1 for the first time around. The Formula 5000 thump Phillip Island here in 2026. Cam in the Chevron, you can tell he's got the big shovel-type nose on the
Yeah, he's doing a great job in the Chevron there. The Lola. No, the Chevron. I'm getting muddled. I'm enjoying this so much. I'm already muddled.
It's a bit hard to get
How
a little bit
terrible is
excited.
that?
I know where you're going with it, Phil. Understood. Walters now challenging Cam. Dean had a 3 from 3 races in his Corvette at Sandown only 3 weekends ago. He's keen to bring home some chocolates and some silverware. He just messes it up. Coming out of turn 4 though, and the two Lolas go through on him down into turn 3, so finds himself back into P5 before they get around half of the first lap. The Chevron still motoring on though, but he waves goodbye to a couple of Lolas as they start to climb up the hill around past Hayshed.
Yeah, great corner, Hayshed. Not sure about in the 5000s, but some of the smaller cars, even you're doing a 4-wheel slide through there. So when these guys in the 5000s get right on it, they're going to have to treat that as a serious corner.
Elfin MR8 there with John Hemming at the wheel from the Elfin Heritage Centre in Melbourne, in Moorabbin. Car number 11 just tips his head to the side there. Gets out of the corner. There's David Crabtree in this magnificent multicoloured extravaganza. Car number 15, the March 5000. A world-class run in both F1 and in Formula 5000 in unison with each other. But David keeps the car alive and well. Goes racing with it as regularly as he possibly can. And I tell you what, that ground shaking for Splat Engineering. And we've got a Splat out there. In fact, where is he? Where is Robin? He is down there in 11th place at the moment.
Ah, yes, there he is.
That's the March F3073 15A. Number 99. There's that beautiful looking number 37 there of David Smoker, the Lola T300. Of course, for many years in historic racing, Bob Minogue was the one to take on his Lola.
That's the one. Yep. And of course, Kevin Bartlett, well known in the Lola as well. He was a Tasman Series driver. Drove all sorts of things, but that Lola, he drove it pretty quickly.
I'm going to start an argument amongst the whole historic.
Oh, here we go.
Who was best in a Lola? Mine, Alfie Costanzo.
I think I'm going to agree with you.
There you go. It's not an argument, is it?
Alfie was he was stunning.
He was.
He was sort of came after Kevin.
He did.
Yeah,
did.
so
Bartlett was still out there.
Yeah.
Kevin Bartlett was the first one. Legend has it that went through turn 1 here flat without lifting, and people didn't believe him until the end of the weekend. He won all the races, and they went, "Well, next time we come here, we've got to get through turn 1 flat."
Yeah, that's right. He was certainly an amazing driver and did a fantastic job for VHRR as the driving standards officer for many years.
He did. This is Rodney Carroll in the Lola T140, an early iteration on the Formula 5000 cars. And, wow, have a look at that car. That Lola leading the way there.
Yeah.
William Sala at the wheel. That is a silhouette of a racing car that you cannot forget.
100%. And the front-on shot of those cars is just amazing to look at. And the side-on shot's pretty good too, and so's the tail-end shot. There's not an angle that's any bad.
Absolutely. Formula 5000 was immense here in Australia and, of course, in the USA. It was a bit of an anomaly in Europe during the era, and like anything, up against Formula 1 in Europe, you're only ever going to be in the second category. But these cars, they struck a chord with the North American fans, they struck a chord with the Australian fans, and they continue to strike a chord with us when we go racing here at the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic. Penrite was around in the day when they raced it. These cars are still around today and still going strong like the Formula 5000.
Yeah, celebrating 100 years, just like Jack Brabham. Although poor old Jack passed away a few years ago, but both 1926 they started out. An amazing pedigree from Penrite Oil to be around for so long doing such a great job.
Car number 74, Dean Cam with the 15 of Crabtree right behind him. So it's a Chevron and it's a March. And then the 43 and behind is a Lola. So 3 brands that were on the world stage, on our stage right here, right now. Bit of understeer on the 15.
Yeah.
Dean Cam opens it up. This guy knows about horsepower. In fact, we've got a guy joined us in the commentary booth that sold him a very, very fast model going back 30 years or so. And Dean drove that thing very, very hard, sold it on. He hasn't sold on his Chevron and he hasn't sold on his Corvette. So he's really enjoyed having those ones in the shed.
Perhaps we could go around and visit and take them for a bit of a spin.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Nice move there on the inside.
Dean goes racing for all the right reasons. He just loves going fast.
Yeah.
He could have been the star of Days of Thunder, actually. He could have been the star of that. If he maybe he's about 4 inches, probably about 4 inches taller than Tom Cruise is. But an immense figure in Victorian motorsport. Bill Hemling now, he's ranging up on the back of this battle. This is for 6 and 7. Bill in the Elfin just off the back shot there.
Yep.
The MR8. Of course, the Elfin team, Ansett Australia, was synonymous here with Phillip Island, with John Lanyon at the helm, not only of the Phillip Island Auto Racing Club, which was the promoting club, he was also at the helm of that race team. And the name just is slipping me at the moment, but it was a guy that ran and owned a supermarket in Heidelberg in Melbourne that was the one that kept the funds coming along to keep the team racing. I'm probably going to get a text message from some people listening on now.
Probably.
But, there was a supermarket owner in Heidelberg that was propping up the John Lanyon and the team
Just watching David Crabtree heading down the front straight there. He's been around motor racing a long time as well. I first came across David when he was competing in Clubman style cars back in the 70s. He's also competed in Formula 2, and I think he's got some sedan type cars at Capri and a few other toys lying about as well. So he's been around the game for a long time and has a great fun.
Well, Bill Hemling's got a bit of a car collection as well, and he recently said, it's all up for sale, it's all up for sale. And someone said, what about the red Mini Cooper in the corner over there? And he said, no, not that.
Yeah.
Car collectors.
Yeah, car collectors. No, not that.
Yeah.
No, not that. No, you can't sell that.
Have a look at this. The Matic leading
Beautiful
the way,
car.
And the checkered flag is being readied. In fact, maybe it's the last lap board that's being readied. Yes, it is. Last lap board being readied. Nothing like looking down the tailpipes of a Matic, is it?
Yeah, it's an interesting design from my eye. The tub sort of looks flat, and then it's got this bit of a squashed up thing in the middle for the cockpit.
It's got very narrow hips.
Yeah, narrow hips. And
the Matic has got. There's the last lap board.
So,
what a shot.
Have
a look at the
bags. That long shot down that straight, just... And the camera work this weekend from Blendline TV, just stunning stuff. They've been doing an amazing job, and full credit to the guys in Blendline TV, their camera work, their production, everything really, really good.
You know, the only thing missing for me out of the Formula 5000s here this weekend...
Is you getting a drive.
No, is an 8-into-1 exhaust. I'm pretty sure it'll blow the noise meter. But certainly the 8-into-1 exhaust was... absolutely amazing when they did that, and I'm pretty sure it blew sound meters all over the world, even in 1970 to sort of trim.
Yep.
The MR9.
MR9, we just hear in the background, so there we go. Yep.
There you go. Great input there from Bruce Coombe, a racer extraordinaire from South Australia. Just, giving us a little history lesson, and nothing like being corrected on air.
That's right.
It's good.
It's always good to have an expert handy.
Good input across the top of the hill on the final lap of this journey.
Drops it down into MG, hooks it to the right. You probably hear it do a short shift. Yeah, short shift up into the next gear, around the left-hander, going to come across the top of the track there, drop it through the next right-hander, and come down the start-finish straight. This will be a clear win. Long way back to second spot, some 7-odd seconds back to Thomas.
Boom, there it is, race number 1 for the weekend in the Formula 5000 race. The Splats Engineering brought all this weekend on the VHR, Victorian Historic Racing Register. Fast cam there as they come across the line. Great shot, static camera, just there catching them as they come across the line. Here comes David Crabtree up the inside
Oh.
of the Lola.
Yeah.
That's Jeff Walters. The Lola team leads 3:30 going back to the line right before the finish. In fact, it's going to try and challenge for the line. No, there's not a lot left in it. But in behind the Lola, it'll be Carroll in the 43 and Rod Carroll is in the Lola T140.
Yeah, that's a good result for David. He's struggled a bit the last few races that I've seen him in where he's been further back in the grid. So that's a really good result. Good to see that he's moved forward in the grid.
Cool to see Roberts Flat get through in the March F5000 73-15A designation. And, of course, our naming rights sponsor for the Formula 5000 here this weekend. And they continue to amaze, enthrall, and just grab our imagination, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly do. Absolutely fantastic to see them out on track and hear them in my ears.
As they make their way back into the Fit and Paddock here at the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic. Bill Hemling, the team Ansett Alphen entry, just entering the back of the paddock there. Jeff Walters in that. I've got to say the T330 is my favourite of the Lolas and of Formula 5000s, but boy, I tell you what, anything Alphen, anything, doesn't even have to be a Formula 5000, it can be a club. I love them too. There it is, Phil, there's our results.
William Saylor, Lachlan Thomas, Darcy Russell, Dean Camp, David Crabtree, Jeffrey Walters, Rodney Carroll, Bill Hemming, David Smoker, Robert Splatt in 10.
You got about a minute or two to catch your breath out there at the racetrack. Plenty of time to still come over and have a little bit of a wander around through the Pit and Paddock area if you want to. The 1960 Sports and Racing Cars M&Q on track next, and we'll round out the day with the 5-litre touring cars as we see the Formula 5000s making their way around to head back into the Pit and Paddock area. We'll take a quick break trackside here at the Penrite 100 Classic. Back in a moment.
Richard Davison, welcome to the 2026 Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic. Now, you're not wearing a helmet, you're wearing a big cowboy hat because your son's actually behind the wheel this weekend, but how's the weekend experience been for you so far? It's a fantastic atmosphere.
I think you'd have to say I'm living the dream when you can pop your boy in the car and he sticks it on pole by a considerable margin. I think I'm pretty happy. Look, I've done this event 10 times. I absolutely love the event. I'd sort of decided I was a bit half-hearted whether I'd run this year, and I just said to Alex, if I enter the car, would you like to drive it? And he jumped at the opportunity. So it's a real buzz watching your kids drive, particularly drive your own car, you know. And the only problem is he's now set such a high benchmark that when I get into it again, I'm probably going to look pretty stupid.
Well, no, you've won several state titles behind the wheel of this RF95, but obviously got the RF89 here this weekend. So not counting you short at all with all of your achievements, I guess, behind the wheel of the RF89, which you've actually taken this car overseas to race it in the Walter Hayes Championship back in the past, haven't you?
No, I've driven the same model car.
Oh, sorry, okay.
But our great friend Brian Sewell, who runs a great team in the UK, he sort of has a fleet of RF89s, and I literally pull the seat out of that car. It comes alongside me in the aeroplane, get to the UK, pop my seat in, and it's like putting on an old pair of socks, you know, it just feels straight at home, everything's identical. So it's been a great way to do it. We've done the Walter Hayes 4 times now, and you know, that's another amazing experience, particularly if you want to learn how to drive in the wet.
Correct.
Because you can guarantee it's going to rain every day.
And obviously in the Southern Hemisphere is probably the most amount of classic Formula Fords collected in one racing scenario here at the Phillip Island Classic. But year on year, we get the same number, the same quality field of Formula Fords every year. It's incredible.
Yeah, look, it is extraordinary. A lot of them are cars that come out sort of once a year, so it does make it a little bit of a challenge, because I can tell you the gap between Alex on pole and the guy down the back is 17 seconds a lap. It's a big speed difference. Yep. But typically, that's usually only a problem in practice where all the cars are sort of together. Once you get into a racing situation, the guys off the front are usually going to pretty much get through the whole race before they catch up with the guys at the rear. But it's just so good to see so many of these cars out here.
Now, I've seen 2 Irish gentlemen over your left-hand shoulder. We've got Martin Donnelly and Eddie Irvine. If we get the camera to have a quick look at the 2 gentlemen, let's see if we might be able to get a quick chat with Martin Donnelly.
Martin.
You happy for a chat? Here he is. I might take the microphone and hand over to Martin Donnelly. Big thank you to Richard Davison. It's great to meet you, Martin, and we are live at the moment. So, look, firstly, welcome to the 2026 Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic. It's fantastic to have you down under.
Well, you know, it's been on my bucket list for quite some time, and I went to Australia 2 years ago, and I didn't get this far, and had the opportunity to go to Adelaide, which I packed my bag 35 years ago, and drove an hour to have one car around the track where my last surgeon said I would never drive an F1 car again. So I said, hey guys, guess what? Fake you, I was here and done it. Then I went to Melbourne for the Grand Prix. There used to be a Grand Prix steward there. And then I got the invitation to come down south to Phillip Island. And here I am, glorious sunshine, and loving every minute of it.
Hopefully you're not turning into a lobster too much, applying the sunscreen nice and liberally, mate.
I hope this is like blood pressure. I mean, my good friend Eddie Irvine here, ex-story guy. So they've all, I mean, Rob Sherrod's here from Northern Ireland, James Hagan, myself, Eddie Irvine, here in the Paddock and Phillip Island. You couldn't write that script.
That's incredible, mate. And look, obviously, we've got such a quality field of cars across 12 different categories, close to 360 significant historic racing cars. But based on Formula Ford alone, what you've seen so far, have you been impressed?
Very much so. I mean, I was here watching the testing yesterday. Watched Alex. I'm waiting to see the race now in 20 minutes. And Formula Ford is where it's at. I mean, it's where the young kids learn their craft at affordable cost. You know, slipstreaming, gear ratios, how to set the cars up. You know, and I did Formula Ford for 2 years in 81, 82, and all the way through into F3, 3000, F1. The basics are still exactly the same.
Yep.
But I mean, as I said, Formula Ford, and you know, there's a good grid of cars here, a lot of fast guys, and we're looking forward to be entertained.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us ad hoc at the last minute, Mark Donnelly. So, without further ado, we'll hand back to the commentary box.
Some people, they just don't get it. They don't get the thrill of spotting a one-of-a-kind. They don't get the joy of a Sunday drive. But at Shannons, we get it, because we get what matters to car people. That's why we offer choice of repairer, because we get it's important who works on your vehicle. Driven by passion, backed by experience. Chat to Shannons, Australia's original insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 or jump online. Shannons, share the passion.
Here on Victoria's Phillip Island, the question isn't where do you start, but why does it have to end? 101 square kilometres of amazing is waiting.
There is all those magnificent kilometres, but the best is the 4.45 around the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit here. A big shout out to everyone that resides in the Bass Coast Shire. This has got to be one of the crowns in the jewel of Australian sporting facilities. It certainly is in the world of motorsport, as we have got this amazing field of cars, the M&O 1960 sports and racing cars. And it is a top field. Here is the grid. Andrew Robson will lead away. Sean Whelan, Mark Morbida in his Brabham there as well in car number 12. So the Brabham BT23C. Paul Faulkner in the number 94 is the next car on the grid there. Paul will be away in the Brabham BT29. Jamie Lana in the number 38. Be away in the Brabham BT16. You see where I'm going with this? Lots of Brabham. Billy Ballinger in the number 29, which is the Cooper Monaco T61M, and that is a magnificent looking piece of kit. The Cooper Monaco there as well. Laurie Bennett, and when I say that name, I've got to introduce you again, Phil Memory. Laurie Bennett out there, a guy you know pretty well.
Well, I know him a little bit. Lovely guy. First met Laurie Bennett at a hill climb at Camperdown back in the 70s. I think he would have either been driving his Formula Ford or a Formula 2. I suspect it might have been the Formula 2. These days he's got the McLaren, and he's also got some other cars.
Noel Bryan will be right next to the McLaren M1B of Laurie Bennett. John Bowe needs a very little introduction. He'll be driving the Porsche there this time round. Dean Ty out of position at number 10 in the car number 2 of Brabham BT 36. We'll get more on him in just a moment. The great George Vidovic coming out of position number 11 and here's number 21, the McLaren M6B. This guy's been racing all around the place and does a terrific job. Watch the yellow McLaren. He will absolutely set this place alight. David Smoker will be right next to him, and David is in car number 291. That's a very big number, and it is the Brabham BT 29. Back to Wayne Wilson, Norm Faulkner, Peter Strauss, Chris Herod, Rob Thompson in the Renmax 23B. That's a car I'm very interested to see how Bob goes in that. Peter Williams in car number 5, the Brabham BT 21A. Adam Berryman in the 47 in the Cooper T70, and Jeremy Dyer in the 20. Jamie Cole, Luke Harborough, Robert Harborough, and Grant Berryman round out the 24 contenders in this particular race here. Car number 32, Sean Whelan, the BT 30. Of course, last weekend at the Grand Prix, Phil, you were there. A Brabham was put into the Hall of Fame, which is normally reserved for humans.
Yes, BT 19, the only car built by Brabham in Formula One style in 1966, or for the 1966 season. The car that Jack Brabham went on to win his not only the World Championship but his third, and the only person ever to have won 3 World Championships in a car of his own name. So an absolute champion, born in 1926, so 100 years ago, a bit like Penrite, and well, we're about ready to start. The engines are revved. Oh, good jump there from Rod.
The Irish races the make charge down into turn number 1. George Vidovic goes into the grass. Of course, if you came down here 20 years ago, George used to race the Cobra replicas, the Python racing cars. He's come back with a car significant in the world. It's a McLaren, and there he is there in car number 21. There's John Bowe in the blue Porsche with the yellow and red stripes over the middle, and sweeping around the outside is none other than Dean Ty. BT 36 Brabham.
Yeah, an ex-Graham Hill car, so quite a famous name on that car. And Dean Ty about to head to the UK to compete in the British Hill Climb Championship. He's exported his Empire Wrath, designed, or the aerodynamics at least, designed by a friend of mine that was just here in the booth a moment ago, Willem Towett, lovely guy, and so Dean is going to compete in that. He holds 1 Australian Hill Climb Championship, and he's out here at the moment in that Brabham BT thundering around the track. Now, Billy Bellinger, I noticed, had made a bit of a balked sort of a start in the Cooper Monaco T61M, but he seems to have gotten the car going okay. The MRD, the Motor Racing Developments, is the blue car on the right-hand side of the screen. Dean Ty immediately behind it. So that is effectively BT1, the MRD. The very first of the cars built by Brabham, pretty much under his own name. But MRD, there's an interesting story as to why they changed it from MRD, which I won't go into on air. Down the front straight they come, thundering down there. We've got a good range of cars here, Darren.
You named it right, though. You really did by thundering down. Just noticing the recovery crew bringing a car back from turn 1. Didn't see that. That's obviously something that didn't create a fuss. What is quite interesting is out in front of this race, the 32 and the 36 the 32 and the 63 have now swapped around with Whelan and Robson.
And that could change at any moment because they're racing hard. They're nose to tail. Really, really close. This is great racing here.
A couple of very impressive cars standing still, these two. They look effective sitting still.
Up the inside, makes the move. He's going to pull it off, Darren. No. cuts him back off. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're right. There's action happening, but these cars are, they don't spare any time in getting them right, that is for sure. They are absolutely look after these cars.
This will be interesting coming down. Oh, nice, covered the move beautifully. Closed the corner off. You're not going to come down the inside, be down on the MG.
Whelan in the 32.
He's making that car about 5 cars wide.
And the 63 of Andrew Robson, both Victorian racing. Oh, no, sorry, Sean Whelan's in South Australia. But very, very similar cars. They're trying to play games with us. They're going to tell them apart and have a look at the lead that they've opened up out over Mark Velmabita, who's been absolutely terrific in recent times in historic racing. Mark Velmabita really finding his feet and pushing out a good result in that car.
Robson got a little bit loose there going into one, looking for the inside run coming out of the southern loop. Who's going to make it, I think? No. Gets closed off again by Whelan. This is a great nice. You just about think these are Formula V's.
They are very much identical BT30s, these two cars. It's almost like one make racing with these two cars going at it.
Yep.
Same livery. And the only thing different, the driver and the number on the nose cone and the side pod. And they're getting quite close to each other as well. Getting a bit of a good look back now. This is back down in the field with Perryman, Faulkner, Herod.
Yeah, he's just gone around Robert Townsend in the Renmax 23B. Beautiful little car.
Oh, yeah. And they really knew how to form bodywork in this era, didn't they?
Well, they did,
so
yeah.
much artwork. You can't describe it as anything other than artwork.
And a lot of that bodywork, aluminium, hand beaten and rolled and everything into shape. It's sorry, we've commentator's curse on the Renmax.
And
he's
highly
motivated
not to get involved in armed combat, though, aren't they? With those very difficult aluminium bodies that hand rolled on the wheel. And very motivated to not dip them, that's for sure. Look at that lustrous green and gold paintwork on that car.
Yeah, so he's got the car back on track as I think that's Luke in the Lotus.
So that is Rob Townsend, the Renmax 23B, being chased down by one of the clubmans in this field.
Yeah, I didn't quite get the number on that car.
Still Whelan and Robson, but it's Robson and Whelan now.
Yeah.
They've just switched it around, and they are having the best 16 minutes of their life out there at the moment. No one's made a mistake, it seems to be, out of these two.
No, although there's a bit, I think we've just seen the biggest gap that there's been so far between Robson and Wheeler.
0.38 of a second, massive gap.
Yeah, huge. You'll never get that back.
No, that's right. Looks like
it does seem to be stretching out a little.
Yeah, just easing away.
Although Whelan up into Lukey, what can he do coming up into there and then try and close it up again, going down into MG. Got a smoother line through Lukey. Does seem to bring the gap back a bit, but still nowhere near close enough to be any sort of a threat to Robson.
This is interesting. 6th, 7th and 8th in very similar sort of cars. Bennett in the 65, number 6 at the moment. This is what I was about to talk about. Then the 29 of Ballinger and then George Vidovic in the 21 McLaren just off the back of this. But this is this battle pack here of Laurie Bennett and Billy Ballinger in the Cooper Monaco T61M.
Yeah,
Good battle.
So that car, the Cooper, has come out from the UK and just an amazing thing. Carol Shelby, of course, had a bit to do with that car, hence it's got a dirty great V8 on the back of it and a fairly light sort of a car. Keith Ullers, the owner of that car, brings it out. Brought his Lola Mark 1 back again this year. It's 2 years running. Oh, Billy getting a little bit twitchy there through turn 1.
Laurie driving very nicely indeed in the McLaren as well. He's got himself a couple of open wheelers, a couple of, I'm going to say, lesser formula, lesser horsepower than what he's wielding right now.
Yep.
Quite famous Laurie for his Formula Ford and his Formula 2 engines.
And his son Nick is a very handy driver as well, but we haven't seen Nick on track for a while. I'm not too sure why, but I think young family or something like that might be getting in the road. But
that can happen.
Laurie, that beautiful car. I've managed to have a sit in it. Haven't had a drive, probably never will, but having a sit in it was pretty good.
Yeah, that is a car that is used very, very successfully in Australia for some time. Of course, Bob Jano that John Harvey do a lot of the driving of, and of course winning of too.
Yep.
We continue on with this journey. This is, of course, the 1960 Sports and Racing Groups M and O, their first race for the weekend, and these are the guys leading the way.
Yeah.
It's like they're actually going to start ticking off some back markers. They are.
Yeah, they are. They've made their way quite easily around that car.
We get pretty proud about the Brabhams, don't we, Phil?
We do.
We sort of puff our chests out and go, our Sir Jack, old Black Jack.
Yeah, and look, he's held with the greatest of respect overseas. It's almost like he's royalty in Europe. And for a long time, a lot of people didn't know too much about him unless you were a motor racing person in Australia. Whelan looks like he's trying to make the run around the outside on Siberia, not going to work. Coming up on the back of the MRD.
That's because in that era, the news was a week behind.
It was.
You'd get a scratchy reporter, Jack Brabham has done a great job at Brands Hatch, but it was a week after the race had run and done, and they'd gone off to Monaco.
Well, Darren, I can remember hearing on a thing called the radio, which some people, young people may not know.
Have a look at this, sorry, Phil. The side-by-side under brakes. Same car, side-by-side, same team. A pair of protagonists that are not going to give an inch. Out over the ripple strip goes the 63 of Robson, and Whelan gets through. We thought Robson had a commanding lead there, Phil.
We did indeed.
Sorry, mate, I didn't mean to chop you up.
No, that's all right.
The thing called
So
radio.
I remember hearing a thing on the radio that an Australian guy, the name of Jack Brabham, had won a World Drivers' Championship. I was quite young at the time. I had a Matchbox toy in my hand. I've still got that Matchbox toy. I pretended for years that I was Jack Brabham.
There you go. And I think a lot did along the way as well, Phil. I think that was something that Australian kids did. They heard that scratching news report and they went, well, we don't know who Black Jack is. The other thing about his career in Formula One was it went quite late in it as well. He was quite old for Formula One.
And look, he was almost what you'd call a reluctant champion, because I think it was 1966 or might have been 67, where he had someone lined up to drive the car, the 67 car, but Lotus offered that driver more money, and so they went to Lotus, of course. So Jack reluctantly got into the car and went out and won the first race.
Yep. Just seeing the Alpine Mono of Jamie Cole just slipping through there. In fact, it might have been Norm Faulkner in the Alpine Mono slipping through there. So just getting down a lap here. Our race leader currently is Anthony Robson. And we have seen the last lap board go out a lap ago. So the checkered flag is being readied now for the first of our protagonists racing the M&O's 1960 sports and racing cars. Let's see, after a race long battle, Robson gets to the line and does it quite nicely. In fact, 1.5 seconds. That's the biggest gap the entire race long there between
I think so.
Robson and Sean Whelan.
Yeah.
Mark McNull's well beater gets through there as well. Car looks terrific and he's driving very, very well indeed. He's the, let's call it the battle for the bangers.
Yeah.
McLaren
and the Cooper.
And of course, in this era in Australia, the Renmaxes were quite famous there as well. Just slipping through there on Rob Townsend in the Renmax 23B.
Yeah, Laurie's going to come around on the start-finish straight. They're both going to come around there actually and open those throttles up and thunder down that front straight. And doesn't that sound just fantastic?
So Laurie Bennett wins his first in the Group OS, so Group O Sports. The OR is Group O Racing, so open wheelers. So it's Robson, Whelan, Velmovita, Faulkner and Lana. Then Bennett across the line. Bellinger, George Vidovic comes home in 8th. That's a good run by George Dean Fly as well in 9th. Brian Smoker. And then the next one, Porsche Shannon, being driven by none other than John Bell. And John has got a fantastic book out as well. So he's got a signing tomorrow morning at 10:30 just down in the MG Car Club marquee down there. So get down and see John Bow signing his new book. A great read, a real tell-all about a very lively career in across all sports, racing and touring cars.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the only thing that John Bow hasn't raced is probably a shopping trolley.
I reckon he's had a go. I reckon he's had a go.
I might check that.
There it is. Andrew Robson, Sean Whelan in their Brabhams, Mark Velmovita in his Brabham, Paul Faulkner, Jamie Lana, Laurie Bennett in the McLaren, Billy Bennett, Bellinger, George Vidovic in his number 21 McLaren, Dean Ty and Noel Bryan. We'll go down to Callum Brannigan with some more news from the pit.
Thank you, Darren. We're starting to get into the twilight hours of the 2026 Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic. And I'm joined by Sandra Horn, of course, and we were talking about the Penrite car, the Mustang, the actual car that won the Bathurst 1000 last year, in the hands of Matt Payne and Garth Tander. Now, I'll get all the nerdy stuff out of the way. Of course, when Grove Racing got the car back from Bathurst back to its workshop in Melbourne, they took all the panels off because it had to keep on racing for the next round at the Gold Coast. So they took the panels off, but of course the running gear kept on running for the remainder of the season. But they've preserved it. You can see the beautiful witness marks, all of the evidence, I guess you'd call it, from having taken part in the great race and coming out on the other side successfully. It was yet another victory for Garth Tander and, of course, the first win for Matt Payne. But isn't this a beautiful example? But anyway, enough of the specifics out of the way. But Sandra, you were actually there.
Then just turned to absolute mayhem where the weather completely turned on its ear. And obviously that made for great racing on the day as well. So we got to see when we were standing in the pit garage waiting for that, that race to end, and it was such a cliffhanger, and then run out there into the grid of when they won. And for a 100-year celebration for these guys to win Bathurst and such a finish like that, it was an amazing race. It was such an experience.
It was seriously one of the best Bathursts we've seen since 2014. So we're having some technical issues with our microphones in the late stages of the afternoon, so let's stick with one microphone for now. But regardless, since 2014 was sincerely one of the best Bathurst 1000s we've ever seen. So you got to bear with us. We are absolutely scrambling down here in the late stages with a few battery issues, but we are doing a fantastic job. Nonetheless, as is the entire crew. All of the volunteer officials here this weekend. We have quite a number here this weekend supporting motorsport. It's a big thanks to the VHRR as well for promoting this event. So without further ado, we've got the 5-litre touring cars coming out for their final session of today. And it's a big reminder to you as well, if you liked what you've seen today, we do it all again tomorrow. We've got 2 sets of races for all of the categories, starting from 9:05 a.m. tomorrow morning, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So without further ado, we're going to throw over to the final session of the day.
Okay, your last race on the card coming out onto track now, and this is something that is in our recent memory, and certainly a pleasure to see these cars rolled out. They are equally a great part of our history. There's a Porsche or two thrown in the mix there as well, so we'll have a good look at them as they go racing as well. This is the 5-litre touring cars, and it's hard to believe that some of these cars are well over 20 years old, 20 plus years of age now. I'm Darren Smith. Right alongside me is Darren Knight, who I'm pretty sure the two of us might have, there was an establishment in the island called the Isle of Wight back in the day that might have seen us go to these races during the day and have a couple of frothies there of a night time.
I refuse to answer that question on the grounds I may incinerate myself, Darren.
Yes.
Which is what happened to the Isle of Wight, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I can't allude to
I didn't even need that segue there.
No,
Good afternoon,
sad day, wasn't it?
It certainly was. Hopefully it may rise again in some sort of form. But onto the cars on our screen. for Blendline TV and, of course, everyone here at the beautiful Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit.
Isn't it today, though? Isn't this just the best day to go racing?
And this is how it's going to be tomorrow, folks. So if you're at home watching on Blendline TV...
Why?
It's a great telecast, but come down here because we want to see your faces down here at the Penrite 100 Classic. There is no rain forecast. It will be brilliant sunshine, so bring the 50 plus.
Don't wait for a grid, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually a sprint for these cars, so we won't be seeing a grid. This is they are actually racing the clock. Don't be surprised if you see some cars doing a bit of door handle to door handle action. They're probably being warned against that, but hey, we're out there on track now. There's a significant race car, isn't it? That yellow Monaro, when that came out. It still hurts me because we were racing a Lamborghini at the time and we weren't allowed the freedoms of a 427 and massive supercar tyres and wings on it, but still a significant car in Australian motorsport history.
Yeah, the 427 Monaro, developed by Gary Rogers Motorsport, took out the Bathurst 24-hour 2 years in a row. So a real mixture of cars, some obviously some early V8 supercars, if you could call them, some later supercars. And on screen now we have the ex-Dick Johnson Racing FG Falcon. That's the car that Chaz Mostert took his very first supercar race win, wearing the colours of Wilson Security for DGR back in 2014. And this is now presented in the colour scheme, that retro colour scheme, which a lot of the teams used to do quite well. The famous Greens Tough colour scheme for Dick Johnson Racing that ran in 2015.
It certainly was interesting because DJR have got such a long-standing, library of cars that they can pick liveries on when they do those retro liveries. And I think, obviously, the legend behind that Bathurst 83, was it, when the Greens Tough car went into the trees, and some people still think they rebuilt that car overnight, but no, they bought another car out of another garage and repainted it. And yeah, the paint was wet when I think Will Hagen lent on it, or one of the commentators of the day landed on the grid, but it wasn't the car that went into the trees.
Yeah, the Green's tough, so sort of a bit of a love-hate relationship with that colour scheme, of course, because Dick took out the touring car title with the Green's Tough XE Falcon in 1983.
Paul Morris livery there, charging away. As everybody still at the track here, great to see many people hanging around. And I tell you what, if you've enjoyed your day here at the track, before you leave tonight, phone 2 friends and join them to come down here and join you tomorrow. After you've done that, get the rest of the family down here as well. It's going to be a huge day at the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic tomorrow. Come and join us. We've got plenty of entertainment. There's lots of things going on with the sponsors and activations of Penrite, Shannons, all of the bits and pieces around. If you want to get some merchandise, there is the Penrite 100 Classic merchandise down available in the Paddock and the Pit and Paddock buildings. And definitely get down and throw some support behind the Mailbag Foundation, which is all about raising money for biopsy equipment for prostate cancer. $50 for a Scenic Hot Lap around the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. Get down and see Julian and the crew down there. A very, very worthy cause. 50% of the population, when you get to a certain age, they all know the invasive technology of getting a checkup.
The blood test now,
the equipment that they're trying to do is biopsy equipment. So that style of personal invasion is left to the one side. We've got to talk about it, Daz, because it's a reality, but those guys doing a great job down at the Mailbag Foundation, and this weekend doing the $50 Scenic Hot Lap around here in some amazing cars. Alan Moffat replica of the ticket race cars as well. There's a replica of a livery we saw once at Mount Panorama, isn't it?
This is the actual car, folks. So this is the very last supercar that champion Marcus Ambrose raced. Came back to Australia after a very successful career in the States in NASCAR. Joined Dick Johnson Racing for the 2015 season. Didn't work out quite too well, so Marcus stepped away halfway through the season, but came back to join the DGR squad for the Enduro. Shared this car with Scott Pye, Chris Stillwell behind the wheel of the Xbox FGX Falcon. Been fully restored by Tickford Racing, so DGR's rival back in the day, but they've done a fantastic job of restoring that car and presented in immaculate condition, as it always is when Ewan McDonald is at the wheel of the preparation, and Chris having a great time in that very attractive Xbox livery, the XGX Falcon of Chris Stillwell.
There we have it. Kai Allen in that magnificent AMG C63 Erebus Motorsport car is the fastest with a 133.0. Ben Eggleston a 135.19. Ben doing a ripping job and does make a bit of a living about restoring these cars and bringing them back for collectors and others to do. And Ben gets out there and rattles the cage, gives it a bit of a run. A race driver in his own right in GT.
Race team owner, of course.
Absolutely. One of the... he'll probably correct me if it's not him, his wife will. Probably the winningest in Super 2 these days.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not stepping on anyone's toes by saying that, am I?
No, I don't think so. Although Tickford at Autosport had a pretty good year last year, but Eggleston, a strong supporter, of course, the Dunlop Super 2 series over the years, and well entrenched in the series these days, as well as this great collection of classic touring cars that they have in the stable as well.
They certainly do, but these cars, there we go. There's Ben in the number 2 car there, I think. That's Ben in the HRT.
Kai Allen on screen now, that unique Mercedes AMG 663 coming to the pits. I knew that would happen.
That's right. Ben Eggleston in the Holden VF out there as well. And we get a good look at it though, don't we? The Will Davison car. There's the checkered flag. Ben Eggleston gets that. Doesn't he go to the top? He doesn't improve either. Oh, there's a car stopped down there. The Ellery. Is that an Ellery livery that we're looking at there? Castrol Super Cheap Silver.
No damage, a mechanical issue of some sort.
Have a look at that. Haven't we seen a lot of that livery winning races in Australia over the last decade or so?
And it's still happening with a different manufacturer as well.
Didn't take long, did it?
Did not take long. Didn't miss a beat, Red Bull. It's amazing organisation and did not skip a beat changing over to the Mustang this year.
I guess the beat they missed was that Walkinshaw won last year's championship. You know, and we're gonna talk about that for a long time. The marketing grand final series or the touring car championship. Which way do we want it to go? Exactly. It's a hard question to answer.
It is, and it certainly got some column inches, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, it certainly did. They did what it did. It got the publicity they were looking for. Porsche storming across the line there as
Sean
well.
Day and that beautiful GT3 RSR number 22, a very unique car. They only built 27.
And 5th in this one.
Very quick motor car.
The R73 coming around.
This is a replica, that's what the R is for. Of course, a replica of the Bathurst 24-hour winning 427 Monaro, which was very controversial in its day. Of course, being allowed to run in
Still a
Nations
good-looking
Cup.
car. They are a good-looking car.
Magnificent.
But I tell you what, no one else was allowed to run a front bumper like that, let alone a wheel and tyre package and an engine.
And of course, a
Like
7-litre V8, normally equipped with...
cool car. I can't take anything away from
Exactly. And magnificently engineered too by GRM, of course.
Yep. Shirl and the boys were taken away to a bit of a skunk works to make that all happen. Well, there we have it. For C.H. Robertson, it is Kai Allen, Ben Everston, Courier Boone, Sean Day, Murphy, a 171 of Stillwell, Zockling, Madecki, and Parrish rounding out our 10 in the 5-litre touring cars, of course, with a Porsche in the mix there as well. Darren Knight and Darren Smith now throwing down to Callum Brannigan in the lane.
Get somewhere where that's...
All right, thank you so much, Darren Smith, up there in the commentary box. And Darren Knight as well. 2 Darrens in the commentary box here this weekend.
Darren's good.
But fantastic effort by all the competitors, all of the entrants, all of the volunteers, all of the officials, everybody here this weekend as part of the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic for 2026. But Emma Dean, it's been a massive day. It's been a day that I have thoroughly enjoyed because of the absolute quality of racing vehicles, and the best part is we get to do it all again tomorrow.
I know, Callum. I can't actually pick a favourite time for today. I honestly don't know. I mean, having a selfie with Eddie Irvine, who wouldn't love that? But the cars are phenomenal. The drivers are phenomenal. We've had K&L here. It's just too much to get in one little chat. Honestly, if you look behind us, we've got so many cars out from Shannons. We've got so many people that have come down to enjoy. Brilliant weekend so far.
Might just get Jason to have a quick look around the corner here, because if you look across the other side of the track, we have an absolute sea of people leaving the circuit, because they really have been up to 10 deep in terms of cars parked at the fence throughout the entire Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit, and it is a massive circuit. It's a massive paddock to fill, but the people have voted with their feet here this weekend, so it's a massive tip of the hat to the VHRR for promoting such a fantastic event. And as we said, we get to do it all again tomorrow, and it is live and free on Blendline TV. I believe the broadcast kicks off at about 9:05 tomorrow morning, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. And what you're seeing today, basically times it by 2. And we got more thrills and spills coming your way.
Absolutely. Best weather as well. The weather gods have shined down on us this weekend, like 24 all day today, and it's autumn. I mean, I don't know who did this for us.
Yeah, somebody ordered the excellent weather, and as you alluded to before, our Irish friends, Irish Formula One legends coming down to the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit, being well looked after by Richard Davison, we should point out, putting plenty of sunscreen on to make sure that they're being well and truly looked after. So without further ado, it's a big thanks to the entire production crew behind the scenes at Blendline TV, all of the officials, all of the volunteers, Motorsport Australia, as well as the VHRR for hosting us here at the beautiful Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit for the Phillip Island Penrite 100 Classic for 2026. So we'll see you tomorrow morning, Emma.
Absolutely. Let's do it again.
And we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye for now.